following is a UTV 44 sports production.
Friday night rivals. This is the UA Early College UTV 44 Game of the Week. Sponsored by Mobile and Baldwin County Sheriff's Offices and the Drug Education Council.
Ready to tee up the final week of the regular season tonight here on UTV 44. Our traditional final week game, UMS-Wright and St. Paul's, the battle for Old Shell Road. And we're here tonight at Delaney Stadium to watch the Saints play host to the UMS-Wright Bulldogs. Good evening, I'm Jim Cox. My partners Dan Brennan and Vic Lockett. Both of these teams at one point during the year ranked number 1 in their classification. They each come in 7-2, a non-region loss for each team and also a region loss. So maybe a bit of a different feel for this game during the regular season. But now we get ready for this matchup tonight, Dan, with both coaches saying, hey, we want this game to get ready for the next season.
These coaches have won a lot of games. These coaches have won state championships. And these coaches this year, their teams are scoring a lot of points.
Yeah, you have a team in St. Paul's that really has a lot of weapons. If you're Terry Curtis, probably want to be able to run the ball tonight, maybe even shorten up the game a little bit, and they've got someone who can do that.
Well, for a 4A team, what I like to say about what Terry Curtis has, he's got a 7A running back. Michael Matthews is committed to Jacksonville State. He's probably going to be a really good fit up there. He is physical. Look at those stats, okay? Over 1,200, 22 touchdowns. It's not just the stats. It's the way this guy runs. Tough between the tackles, not explosive speed, but good speed, and a guy that really doesn't shy from contact. That's a big-time running back in a 4A program.
Yeah, he's more of that downhill type runner, Vic Lockett. Not a slasher, not a guy that makes a lot of cuts, likes to run right at you. If that's the case, linebacker play, always key for a defense going up against a running back like this.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about Andrew Wing, who's going to be challenging him. He plays a lot of safety, but he's going to be put up there in the box, according to Coach Mass. Nothing wrong with this kid athletically or scholastically. Take a look at 76 tackles, 1 INT. Leading the team in tackles scholastically, 4.2 GPA, 33 on the ACT. We finish up here tonight, guys. He's going up to Air Force, catch a 6:30 flight in the morning, and go up there and visit with those guys. Got offers from them, Army, Troy, Citadel, Jacksonville State, Alabama A&M. Dan, you'll like this. He's also been offered to be a preferred walk-on at your Georgia Bulldogs. So we will see what he decides in his future.
This is
pretty impressive.
Really one of the most fun games we do all season. A great rivalry. We're excited for it. 19-18, the all-time season series. St. Paul's with one more win in the rivalry than the UMS-Wright Bulldogs. Kickoff comes up after this. The battle of Old Shell Road. Youngsters, they'll be playing on TV in just a few years here on Friday nights with us. Two-time defending 5A state champions, the St. Paul's Saints, out here on their home field playing host to the UMS-Wright Bulldogs. UMS will kick off. St. Paul's will have it to start things off here tonight. Walker Shaw will kick off for the Bulldogs, and back deep to receive Tymary Smith and Jalen Armour Davis. We'll see if they kick to him, and they do. It'll be Armour Davis at the 12. Up the far side across the 30. And we will see the St. Paul's offense. And let's welcome in the fourth member of our broadcast crew on the sidelines. It's Tara Reeves. Good evening, Tara.
Thanks so much, Jim. You know, a major key to this UMS offense has been the starting quarterback the past 2 years, Tanner Allen. But you know what? He decided earlier this year that he was going to sit out this football season because he's committed to play baseball at LSU. And so he wanted to focus on that. But about 5 weeks ago, he came to Coach Curtis and he said, Coach, I want to play. So he's now dressing out for the Bulldogs and filling that starting role once again. Coach Curtis says that he's getting better each week and he thinks he'll be at his best tonight. We'll see firsthand how well he does against the Saints.
They will need him if they're going to win this game here tonight. Swift Lyle with the handoff, and this will be Smith out to the 34-yard line to open things up for the St. Paul's Saints. St. Paul's 7-2 on the year, 5-1 in the region. Their only loss came against the Viger Wolves. There's Steve Mask. What a run he is on here. Came here as an assistant coach, took over when Jimmy Perry left. 71-12. Including 56-10 in the regular season, about 15-2 in the playoffs since he's been here.
Pretty strong. Very tight bond with his players. Yep.
2nd and 4 for the Saints. Swift-Lyle will roll out to this side looking for Davis out of the backfield. Now he doesn't do this very often, but he'll pull it down and he'll step out of bounds and he'll be a little bit short of the first down. St. Paul's Island, Kennedy, Elder, Dillard Doggett, and his dad just a few minutes ago outside the press box. Loves watching our games. And Lackinger, the only returner up there. Willman, one of the receivers. We also have Paget out on the other side. Krause, the tight end. And then you got Smith and Davis. They'll bring the athletes in. Swift-Lyle, great year so far here today, or this year, over 1,600 yards through the air, 11 touchdowns. Motion. They give it off. Davis. Ball comes loose. Poked loose. And recovered by the Bulldogs at the 29. Ball came loose. Popped free.
Turnovers early in the football game.
Dalton Goff, who was on our pregame show.
It was a handoff. Wow. Sometimes those jet sweeps, we call them a pass, but that one was definitely a handoff.
Mason Watts comes up with the football. 5 sacks on the season, 6 tackles for loss, and a takeaway to start things off for the Bulldogs.
Terry brought the right kid to the pregame show, right?
Put the big hit on, and there you get Tanner Allen. Splashed for over 300 yards this year. And they want to give it off to who Dan featured, Michael Matthews. And Matthews down near the 20-yard line, had 151 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game last year when UMS pulled off the upset over St. Paul's. There's Terry Curtis. What can we say about TC? 18th year here, turned 66 this week, and he looks great, and he feels great.
Yeah.
And so glad to have him here. He's been at UMS since 1999, 5-time state champion, Hall of Fame member. Now this is going to be Allen keeping it, trying to get to the edge, and he does, and Allen inside the 10-5, touchdown Bulldogs.
What a great read by that kid to pull it at the last second, because the dive was definitely not there, and he pulls it out and jumps around the corner.
Tanner Allen, 47th carry of the season, and with a great read, able to get around the outside, and you could not have scripted it better for UMS-Wright getting off the bus here tonight.
Great penetration by the defense. It calls a turnover. Allen with a great zone read, and he's got the speed to get to the corner. He's penciled in as a center fielder at one of the best baseball programs in America at LSU.
And Walker Shaw makes it 7-0 Bulldogs. What a start for UMS-Wright. They force a turnover. And 2 plays later, they have the lead on the road against their rivals, the St. Paul's Saints. We got a good one going here tonight. Great start for the UMS-Wright Bulldogs. They force a turnover and then get a touchdown run from Tanner Allen. And they lead 7-0 over St. Paul's, and Walker Shaw will kick off. Jalen Armour Davis back deep along with Temery Smith. This one a high short kick on the far side. It's going to hit the ground, and Davis picks it up and gets up the far sideline. He's bumped out of bounds there, and we'll see the Saints offense come back out. Yeah, they have 3rd and short, Dan, and then a little misdirection, kind of lots of formations that you see out of the St. Paul's team, but great penetration by this Dalton Goff to start it off there for the Bulldogs defensively. He knocked it free. Watts fell on it, assisted in the middle as well, clipped an inch on the other side. Breland Myers and Lassiter, the linebackers. Myers moved up, was a safety last year. Now he's playing linebacker. And Ty Riccone, Roberson, Jack Pugh, and Trez Dixon. And we'll see some of those kids from UMS over on the offensive side of the ball at times tonight here as well. Give this one back off to Smith, and he's trying to get out across the 35 to the 36 before Walker Breland wraps him up. Smith, 80 carries coming into tonight, 16 touchdowns on the year. We'll see Daniel Beard back there a lot as well. They kind of split it back and forth. The St. Paul's team has thrown for more yards than they've rushed for this year. Not something you see a lot out of a St. Paul's team. Yeah,
playing to their strengths with the personnel that they've got.
Pickup of 6. Right back to Smith, and he's hit and dropped for a gain of maybe 1. Russ Myers, who we just talked about, who started at safety last year, comes up to play linebacker, or makes the stop there on Smith.
Yeah, he's feeling right there like he's been playing linebacker his whole career.
No kidding.
Got away from Clayton Elder.
Defeat the blocker and go make the tackle. Nice play, Russ.
3rd and 4 here. This UMS defense has been stingy, just 10 points a game. Jake Koziel, new defensive coordinator. And Swift Lyle wants to keep this one, and he will. And he's got a first down, and he's bumped out of bounds at the 47-yard line. If you want to reach out to us throughout the game here tonight, we'd love to hear from you. Send us your questions to heyguys@utv44.com. Thanks to our friends from Papa Murphy's Take and Bake Pizza. And send us a text up here in the booth as well. We'll try to get as many of your questions in throughout the broadcast. Got lots of people watching here tonight. Got a lot of man caves with a certain baseball game on one channel, on one TV, and a big screen TV with a high school football game on.
We're glad to be half of that.
1st and 10. Looked like there was some movement beforehand. And
When sharing TVs, Dan is not used to not having the entire spotlight, so he is very gracious tonight.
Oh, yeah, but the Cubbies are a big story.
I'm not saying sharing TVs.
Snap infraction on the offense. 1st down.
I like what everybody's doing now and going with just putting the 2 big TVs right in your living room or man room, so you don't have to try to flip back and forth.
I haven't caught up to that trend. You know, one thing about St. Paul's that you'll notice is they give your defense a lot to think about. And you don't go 4 wide just to go 4 wide. You go 4 wide because you think at least 3 or 4 of those guys can actually stretch the field and make the play.
Smith in the backfield on 1st and 15. They give it to him on the left side, and he's stopped for little or no gain.
Yeah, he hit it up in there with some authority, but the Bulldogs rebuffed him with some as well.
Daniel Sisson was in there, lost his helmet. He'll come out for a play. Yeah, we talked about Jake Koziel come over here to be the new defensive coordinator, replace Dan Jennings, who was here for so many years and with Terry Curtis for so long. It's such a legend among coaches here. Retires, and perfect timing for our old friend Jay Koziel to come join the program.
Known him a long time when he was a young head coach at Robertsdale.
2nd and 12. Obi Trotter. Remember, Obi Trotter was a great basketball player down there as well. Swift Wild looking all kinds of time. Now he's going to roll out. Flips it. It's incomplete. So he was trying to get that one to Oliver Willman.
UMS did a good job getting back in their zones, and if you come in their zone, they were jumping you. You had all kinds of time there.
Armour Davis was going long, and I don't think that, I don't think Lyle was comfortable with how much space he had.
I think with good reason.
Yeah, well, I think eventually he spread it out a little bit, but I'm excited to watch Swift Lyle. A lot of good reports on him. This is our first chance to see him.
Robert Hansen in there offensively for the Saints as well. 3rd and long for the for the Saints. Now they want to set up the screen, and it's incomplete. Read very well. You see Beard was back in there, and St. Paul Saints in their all-blue uniforms. Haven't worn them in a year. And Steve Mass, the way this one's going 4 minutes in, he might want to have the players make a change at halftime. He's not liking the start of this one for the Saints thus far. Blackinger on to punt.
The energy level right now a little higher on the UMS-Wright side.
I would agree. Jack Pugh, he's taken one back for a touchdown. Up to the near side, and the Bulldogs will stay away from it. Took a good Saints bounce to the 25-yard line. Last week of the regular season. How about last night? Murphy with a win. They win the Mayor's Cup. They beat Viger. Saraland goes to the playoffs by putting a big number up against BC Reign. Spanish Fort with the win. Chickasaw Satsuma last night. Washington County and Citronelle. Citronelle got the win on the road there. Games tonight. Daphne, winners of 7 straight, taking on Baldwin County. Baker and Mary G playing tonight. Both those teams trying to figure out where they're going to fall in the playoff standings as well. Robertsdale and Gulf Shores. New Brockton and Sweetwater. Also Strawn and Andalusia. Such a great year this year. Thomasville and Clark County. St. Luke's and Cottage Hill tonight. Ball's loose on a big hit and recovered by the Saints. Was he down? They say no. Roll it in for the Saints. Touchdown. They say he was not down when he picked it up, and Holden Gwynn, the linebacker, after the collision on the handoff, picked it up and it takes it in for the defensive touchdown, and the energy level now jumping on the Saints side.
Yeah,
Dan
maybe
Brennan.
the energy level is finally evened out a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. But my question, too, was he down? But
It doesn't
maybe
matter
he
now.
didn't have control of the football as he was recovering it. And once he got good control when he was standing up, see the replay here. Ball is out. And he's on top of a player.
I think his knee, it looked like maybe that left knee was down. We'll look at it again. But the Saints tie it up 7-7. Wow.
Points off turnovers.
Action-packed first 4 minutes and 14 seconds of this one here tonight on Old Shell Road. UMS-Wright, the 2 games they lost this year, they turned the ball over 4 times in each one of those games. That's been a big component. They force the early turnover, then they get one. They get a touchdown there, then they turn it over themselves, and the Saints pick it up and go in for a score, and so each team opportunistic to start. High kick to the near side. Pugh and Riccone back there, and this is Ty Riccone. And Riccone up to the 23-yard line. We're going to look again, and that was Gwynn who just had the touchdown. We're going to look at it as kind of a lot of things to look at here. And, of course, the officials look at it in real time. So the ball's loose. He's down. Is his knee down when he has possession of the ball was your question, Dan.
Yeah, his knee is down at some point. But is his knee down when he is now in possession of the ball?
Or his foot, I
don't know.
Yeah, it's...
And in that rule, if you're on top of a player, you still can get up and run. So maybe that's what they saw.
Tanner Allen going to keep this one. Ooh, big hit on the far side. Just trying to turn the corner, and St. Paul's defense would just force their 24th turnover of the year.
There's Tamar Smith coming up there, feeling that edge, forcing it on the corner there to go back in.
Gain of 2. Riccone comes in the backfield. He'll take the handoff. He's one of those kids who can play both sides of the ball for Terry Curtis. He's up to the 31-yard line here.
Shifty and quick.
Yep. UMS offense, 32 points a game this year. Parker, Woodford, Clash, Milling, and Middleton up front. Middleton, the only one of the 2 seniors up there. Davis, one of the wide receivers. Also, we'll see McWilliams, the big tight end, a true freshman. Also is Keyshawn Woodyard. And we'll see several players come in defensively that play on the defensive side offensively for the Saints. We'll also see the same thing for UMS. St. Paul's defense, Trell McGill, who's a guest on our pregame show, Ryan Johnson, they're going to move him around a little bit tonight. Kirby Beard, Shavers, and Turnipseed, the linebackers, along with Holden O'Gwynn in there. Smith, Flott, who's going to Ball State. Andrew Wing, they'll move him safety, linebacker, and then Jalen Armour-Davis there as well. Penalty against the Saints, and so it's 3rd and 3 for UMS. Hunter Middleton, only non-senior up there for the Bulldogs in the offensive line. They try to screen, and it's over the head of Riccone. Then a late flag drops at the 30. 3rd and 3.
Might have been lineman downfield too quickly.
Yep, that's indeed what it is.
Nick Saban rule in effect.
Steve Mass says, no, we'll decline that and bring up 4th down here for the Bulldogs.
They look like they're in pretty good shape for a middle screen.
Yep.
Yeah, he held on to the ball a little bit too long, which caused those linemen to get downfield because I think they were faking it out there on a flare pass.
This is a very good UMS-Wright offensive line. It's not often we say it's one of the strengths of this team.
As a receiver downfield on the offense, that penalty is declined. Be 4th down. Be 4th down.
I think a little bigger than some of the UMS-Wright offensive lines we've seen in years past as well.
I agree.
Mostly seniors, one sophomore. It makes a difference.
Ty Riccone will punt, and Jarrett Eaton will stand back at the 41.
Back to flip the field.
Line drive, end-over-end kick. And
maybe not.
Lets it roll all the way back inside the 20 down to the 16, and he almost touched it as well. And Riccone's got a pretty big leg, and I don't think he was trying to hit the line drive on that one. But
I was going to say, if it was by design, it certainly worked.
Here's how everything shook out in Region 1. Everybody with a one loss at the top of that region, a three-way tie, but UMS ends up being the 3rd seed in the region, so they'll go on the road next week to open things up. Dale County. UMS with that loss on the road at Thomasville. Again, 4 turnovers in that game. And that was a loss that kind of sent some shockwaves around local high school football fans seeing that score. Swift Lyle. He'll go under center this time. Play action pressure coming. Fires it over the middle of the field. And a sliding catch unable to hold on to it was Tyler Padgett. And this time they brought Walker Breland.
The flag.
Yeah, comes in very, very late.
And that was the
play
side,
was completely over.
That was the side Breland came flying in from. He's 6'2", 185 pounds. An eligible man downfield. It's the Saints on that one. Kind of a special night here tonight, Dan Brennan.
Jimmy Kane, I talked to him before the game. 40 years of officiating. He's tonight's field judge. 40 years doing what he's doing right now. This will be his final game.
Shock, I didn't know that. I used to work with Jimmy Kane at Coca-Cola.
No kidding.
Yep.
Hats off to Jimmy. And
I can't believe he's calling it quits because he really, really enjoyed his Friday evenings. That's one day you wouldn't catch him around the plant after 3 o'clock.
Gotcha.
But he's usually there about 5:30 in the morning.
Back up the Saints, so Jimmy can watch us on Friday nights.
Yeah.
Dan, I wasn't there at 5:30. I just saw his emails that Sunday.
Right, I got it.
1st and 15. Inside, give to Smith, and
Dang tackling right there.
very UMS-Wright like tackling there.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive UMS-Wright defense.
See Smith pull up Breland there, give him a little pat on the head.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of respect and regard between these teams, these players, and they lay it out there on this final weekend of the regular season every year, and that's why you usually find us at one locale or the other here on Old Shell Road.
Timeout here with 5:34 left in the opening quarter. It's been an exciting game.
Points off turnovers, I'm telling you. And if you're the underdog, turnovers can get you in the upper dog, if you will.
Some of our friends bringing us high school football for our UA Early College game. It is UA Early College Game of the Week here on UTV 44. Vic Lockett.
Roll, Tide, roll. We'll take them early and often.
Appreciate them joining us. Speaking of the big A there, we got some folks watching this game tonight at kind of a wedding party, kind of sneaking on their phones. We got Scott Cooper watching the game tonight. He's there with Frank Lott. Now, Frank Lott, Frank went to St. Paul's. His kids go to UMS right now. He's got a son who's going to be a rising star of a quarterback. So he's trying to.
He's a businessman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's
got to toe the line.
Smart guy. So they're watching the game tonight, getting ready for Hayes Lusher getting married this weekend. So it's a good weekend for
congratulations
all those friends hanging out this weekend. 2nd and 12. Wow, pressure coming from the backside. Fires at it and center. No, thought Ty Riccone had a chance to hold onto that one.
Yeah, the coverage was not good there. We talk about defense. They were not lined up to cover that slot guy. He was open from the snap. He just wasn't looking back. He was just running his route. And his quarterback recognizes it. He's looking for him right now. But he's just running his route.
Throws it behind him, but you can see the arm strength of Swift Lyle, even in his incompletions.
But Swift was actually throwing him open. His route was taking him into the coverage.
Yeah, and that's Jared Eaton, his favorite receiver, 21 catches on the year. And now another 3rd and long, 3rd and 12.
They've got trips to the top of the
Shoot, they have emptied it out here.
Yep, twins at the bottom.
Pressure coming. Wow, with that strong arm down the middle of the field. And this time Tyra Coney has the interception.
He tried to drive it in there, but it was 2 safeties back there with a lead on the football.
4th interception for Riccone. Might have been saying about a punt that might have been coming up, but Riccone
thinking the same thing.
Comes up with his
teammate was the only one that could defend him.
4th pick of the season.
And they sort of run into each other as they make the interception right there.
So the Bulldogs, they flipped the field now after looks like the Saints were going to have a chance to do that. Hey, Brett Rutledge, speaking of the field, how about how great this field looks, Dan Brennan?
You know, Brett Rutledge, the field.
Matthews, it's dropped at the 46.
It was kind of in transition about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but the weather's been warm, and he's got a few tricks up his sleeve, but we walked that field before the game, and it was absolutely immaculate.
Yep. And when you're coming in, it looks like you're flying in because it's so deep down in here. You get a great perspective of it, and it is beautiful.
And when we got on the field, it looked great from above. When we got to stepping on it, it was pretty impressive.
Oh, Jim let you use his choppers?
So they overseeded it with ryegrass, but the thing, as it gets later in the evening, this field will become more slippery because ryegrass, a little wider blade, holds more moisture, so keep an eye on players slipping throughout the evening here. Allen zips it off to the near side, and that's Hughes. Got it inside the 40, and he'll be pushed out of bounds at about the 36-yard line.
Nice block by Riccone on the outside that sealed things. Gave Hughes some room to run.
Yeah, nice job by Jim giving us an agricultural report there. Yeah. Wide blade on the ryegrass. I'll tell you what, you can't get nothing past Jim Cox.
He sleeps like a half hour a night.
He's always for the show.
Dedicated to make sure that he knows everything.
Other than when he's directing those fishes into that yacht.
1st and 10 from the 36. Matthews hit and dropped all the way back at the 40. Ryan Johnson finished it off.
Disrupted there by number 8 immediately.
Hustling in for the Saints. I thought it might have been 6, Vic. Might have been.
Or was it 6?
Gaines Kirby. I thought maybe it was the first one.
Yeah. And that Johnson now, he's an impressive story on the field, in the classroom.
Yep. Character guy.
Yeah.
Yep. They're highly recruited. Everybody's after that young man.
A good guy for your program.
Allen looking at the middle of the field. There's contact there, and no flag.
Well, it is a flag, but it's from the far side of the field. Referee, maybe he's going to overrule the back judge and say, hey, he got there early. Because it definitely impeded his route.
Brady Flott was there for the Saints.
Flott saying, no way, coming in my zone there, but let's get the last. There it is. We got PI on him now. Thought he was there much early. Ooh, could be a tip though.
Shavers almost got a finger on it, which would have.
I think he did. Of course, nothing changes in high school football, but if he did, that would have been pick up the flag.
Instead, it's a 1st down for the Bulldogs, and the offensive line doing a good job protecting Tanner Allen so far. For UMS, as they'll punch it to the near side, and Allen dropped his
Carnes Kirby again.
Wow, it's 2 in a row he's got in there. And you wonder if they're having to do a little special, they're focusing on Johnson on that side, trying to get some extra help over there, and Carnes Kirby able to come in.
Yeah, he's untouched there, and maybe they're thinking they're going to fool him with the fake, but he is not falling for the okie-doke.
Loss of 1.
5'9", 163-pound junior, so we'll get to enjoy him next year.
Just one of those Friday night high school football players we love to talk about, Dan Brennan.
Yeah. They've never played in Nebraska, but we enjoy them on Friday nights.
Matthews tripped up as he got to the 20 before Daniel Beard was in there, and also Ryan Johnson again. And
yeah, Matthews had some green in front of him if he was able to break that tackle down around the feet.
Down inside 2.5 to go. You know, that play the Saints scored that touchdown on my phone. I've got 12 text up here, and it's about split half and half from UMS people thinking he was clearly down, and the St. Paul's fans saying, no, he wasn't down at all.
Well, how about that?
3rd and 7. Allen looks, wants the corner of the end zone, and he just overthrew it. As he was trying to go to the freshman Keyshawn Woodyard. This is a talented young man. Willis Wilcox, Willie, who watches all of our games, coached him in T-ball, and he said, I knew in T-ball this young man was going to be a special player.
Wow. Yeah, Willie recognized him hitting the T-ball. He's going to be a football player. I hear you, Willie.
So if you can figure out a kid's going to be a star when he's 4.5, I got to give you credit.
Yeah, we may need to take him, let him do some recruiting, especially if they're playing T-ball and he recognizes they're going to be a football player.
Bulldogs will go for it here on 4th and 7 from the 20. They bring Riccone in the slot. Pugh goes in motion. Allen looks, fires in the middle of the field. He's got Riccone who holds onto it. And he's going to have the first down.
It was the pump fake to the outside that was able to...
We've seen that shoulder fake from UMS quarterbacks forever, Dan Brennan.
We have. Terry Curtis teaches it, and you can see why. It's a matter of this much.
Well, if you're reading the quarterback eyes, you're going to make a move towards it, especially if you're playing hard. So you go for the fake, and they get the pass behind you.
Big 4th down conversion.
I have seen a lot of that just tonight.
Matthews on the right side had a hole and plowed into Gordon Mathers, the junior, and pushed it forward for a gain of 5.
And Matthew took that little stutter step to see if the line would open up to part the waters, and they did, and he dove on through there.
Going to Jacksonville State, and I think those are the runs that you're used to seeing out of him. Both coaches said really not a slasher, not a darting guy, more of that downhill runner.
Yeah.
Every coach loves that.
Pick a spot and go.
Yeah, they love that.
2nd down, the Bulldogs can get a first down. They give it to Matthews, and he falls forward, and he's going to be down around the 1.
Yeah, that was a small crease there. He got really small to get through there and get some positive yardage. Wasn't much there of a hole, but he got some positive yardage out of it.
1st and goal, and you know, it really feels like UMS has had the ball a lot here in this first quarter, which by design, you talked about before the game that Terry Curtis would love to be able to shorten this game a little bit.
Yeah, and it wasn't even an offensive touchdown that put St. Paul's on the scoreboard.
Gonna measure here. Does have the first down, so 1st and goal for the Bulldogs from the 1. Talking about people watching, E.E. Delaney Stadium is where we're at. Scott Delaney. E.E. was his grandpappy, he told me. And he's watching the game here tonight.
What?
Now, flag. The Bulldogs loaded things up in the back end.
Jim, you're from Chicago. What do you know about pappies?
Yeah, he said grandpappy?
He said that was my grandpappy. E.E. Delaney was my grandpappy.
I love that.
So Scott is watching the game tonight. We appreciate that.
That's kind of demonstrative in Pritchard, you know, like you call him. Grandpa there.
Dead ball, false start, offense. 5-yard penalty, replay 1st down.
That was a sure thing. Some people were picking up some teeth.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Glad to know.
I'm just saying what Scott called his beloved grandfather. The give to Matthews, pushes forward, and he'll get to the 3 after the penalty.
I think the penalty made him mad. The way he ran that football there.
He was looking for contact.
Yeah.
Some authority there. I think that's his style of play. Like you said, he just makes that little stutter step, looks for a soft spot, and he darts through it.
Let's see if they have to snap. They haven't started the play clock. They will not have to snap it again. Let's see if Terry Curtis decides to run a play here. does not have to.
He's looking back at the clock.
They will. Go. They give it to Matthews on the right side, and he's in for the touchdown. Well, there was the coaches were trying to look at things over on the UMS side, and they decided to go ahead and run the play with 5 seconds left here in the first quarter, and UMS regains the lead.
Yeah, just a simple little handoff there off the guard, but he stretches it out there.
Bring Mason Watts over from the defensive line to help block.
Yeah, they had 2 or 3 trying to seal off Ryan Johnson, by the way.
Everybody's
he was
going
not
down.
alone.
Tanner Allen talking with Coach Curtis there. Terry talking to us after we recorded the pregame show on Wednesday night, just how great a kid Tanner Allen was. Of course, he had he was trying to travel baseball team and all those things, and Terry Curtis just said, hey, he's just such a wonderful young man, and teammates love him, and you would think if that weren't the case, that situation probably wouldn't have been allowed to take place at all.
It could have got real messy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let me tell you, all of that, number one, he can play football.
That's what I was going to say. At some point, we need to sneak that in.
Yes, let me tell you, that's priority one.
And if you wondered again about the speed of the kid, LSU likes to go for championships in baseball, so you don't recruit a slow guy to play center field. Right?
Okay.
So this kid can run. He's a leader. He can throw it. He can do anything Terry Curtis wants his quarterback to do.
And he can play football.
Yes.
Let's go, 14-7 UMS-Wright lead here. And the Bulldogs will kick off in what will most likely be our last play of the opening quarter. Highly entertaining. Walker Shaw. This time we'll kick it to Smith at the 11. Smith up the far side looking to turn the corner, and it's drugged down at the 27-yard line. And we are through one here at Delaney Stadium. St. Paul's and UMS-Wright, the Battle of Old Shell Road. Week 11 of the high school football season here on UTV 44. Just a beautiful setting for a high school football game. It's us in the left-hand corner.
Beautiful
screen
night.
there as we start the second quarter. Dan Brennan, Jim Cox, Vic Lockett, Terry Reeves on the sideline, Jared Kihas in the truck, and the Saints. Swift Lyle throws, intercepted. What a one-handed grab, pulling it down. Dalton Goff, and he's going to go in for the touchdown.
What an athletic move by that young man right there.
Forces the turnover in the first quarter, comes up with a one-handed pick, and Terry Curtis knows how to load up the pregame show, Dan Brennan.
This is the young guy that joined us at Metro PCS, and he didn't have a whole lot to say. He does his talking on the football field. Vic?
Watch this catch, one-handed.
Yeah, he was dropping back in his zone back there and got his head around to see the quarterback trying to drop it over his head, but he sticks his hand up there and says, nope, I'll take that, and he's making a house call. Touchdown.
Swift Lyle had only thrown one interception since week 2. And that one is a pick 6 for Dalton Goff. And the PAT is good, and points off turnovers, Vic Lockett.
Yeah,
kind of a big deal.
We'll swap it around if you're underdog.
Wow. Well, let's go down to the sidelines. Tara Reeves is down there. She's got a little UA early college information for us. Tara.
Thank you so much, Jim. I'm here with Dr. Victoria Whitfield. And Dr. Whitfield, for those who don't know, what is UA Early College?
Well, UA Early College allows high school students the opportunity to begin earning college credit right now as a high school student through the University of Alabama.
And then I hear that you guys have a deadline approaching. What does that mean, and when is it?
We have an application deadline coming up rapidly. Actually, it's on Monday, October 31st, and that means that students who apply by that day can begin taking UA courses online beginning the spring academic term.
So if students apply today, when can they start taking those UA Early College classes?
They would begin taking courses that second week in January when our spring academic calendar would begin.
And then for those students who want to, how do they apply for UA Early College?
We have 3 simple steps. So visit our website at uaearlycollege.ua.edu, write a very short student essay, and have their high school counselor submit their transcript.
And then who's eligible for admission?
Students who are a 9th grade or above, they're eligible to begin participating in the early college program.
Hey, awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Whitfield.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Tara. High kick to the near side, all the way at the 22-yard line. As Reginald Bracey will roll it up to the 30. How about what we've seen here in just a little over a quarter of football?
We've seen about everything, and we've seen a lot of defensive big plays.
Oh, yes.
You know, twice we've seen return for the touchdown.
Yeah, one from St. Paul's,
right.
One now from UMS.
Turnovers all over the place. A guy that doesn't usually turn it over, and Lyle and
two teams don't usually turn it over,
true.
right?
Yeah.
We've had 3 here in the first quarter and 16 ticks.
Well, let's see who's going to get another defensive turnover.
You loving those, Vic Lockett.
Yeah, I like it.
Smith on the right side. Breland was the first one, but then he pushes forward all the way up to the 40, going to be close to a first down.
Good acceleration by Smith. He got some blocks on the outside, but a lot of that was just Smith saying, I'm not going down.
Yeah, he ducked his shoulders there and got him square and just kept him going forward, kept his feet moving. Look at him, ducked his shoulders there, feet still moving.
Got across the 40 for the first down before Russ Myers was over there to finish him off.
Coach Master like that, taking a look at the kids there, enjoying the football game.
New set of downs. Wilson Krause comes over and out. UMS kids who are yelling for the flag to get dropped, and Dalton Golf, who's done it all here tonight, was the first one screaming, saying, and if, he's probably right the way he's playing tonight.
Yeah, he's also the head referee. He's
going to replace Jimmy after he retires after 40 years.
Hey, I got to tell you, though, you're right about this game. It is bringing the stars out. I'm getting all kinds of messages from Brent Bedsole over at Spanish Fort.
Yep.
And his son, Wilson.
Well, I met at the Spanish Fort fishing tournament a couple weeks ago.
I want to let you know that Wilson was watching and
awesome.
Excited to see what you had to say.
He loves watching high school football on Friday night.
Former Bulldog great Brad Israel is checking in, making sure that his Bulldogs know he's watching too.
And we got lots more of those to get to. It's a very popular game here in Mobile tonight. Give it off to Davis, trying to turn the corner. Now he is slippery, and he gets back just past the original line of scrimmage. Jaden Roberson able to wrap him up there. Viger Wolves came in here, fell behind 21-0 against the Saints. Came back to win 38-35 on a wild one to win the region. That was the only loss for St. Paul's here this season. Jackson 4-2, and Citronelle rounds things out, going to the playoffs. Their win last night, and Saints will be home to take on Charles Henderson, a team UMS-Wright beat in week 2 of the season. Now, drop the ball. Lyle picks it back up, wants to heave it in the middle of the field, and wow, great job to find Tyler Padgett and pick up the first down.
Yeah, no panic in Lyle, huh?
No panic, and again, that arm strength. It got there in a hurry, Vic.
Nice little zip on it, and he just slips out of his hand, reading the defense, picks it back up. It's still there. I'll make the play.
And you wonder, is part of that is it's been so warm? The field, is the field getting a little slick, getting the ball a little more slick?
You gave that agricultural report earlier about the width of the grass.
I did grow up in the Midwest, Vic Lockett. Yeah. We didn't do a lot besides grow things up there.
Third quarter, Jim's got some soybeans futures for us.
And pork bellies. Pitch on the right side, and this is Beard, and see, he goes to cut it back and fell there, and he's crossed the 40.
I hope he fell, because I thought he was giving himself up.
No, he slipped.
Okay.
He slipped.
12 touchdowns on the year. This year, 7 points so far for the Saints. They trail by a couple of scores. You know who this text said he's watching? Tony Atchison. Remember his son Taylor led the Bulldogs to a state championship.
Yeah, Taylor's doing great too.
Yep, great work downtown Mobile. Just got appointed to the planning commission in Mobile by the mayor. And Beard will fall ahead for a few before Myers pulls him down.
Well, these guys are competing out here tonight for sure. Look at that score, 21-7 UMS-Wright.
Well, you know, hey, they see each other as well, you know, at different events, and this is the Battle of El Shell Road, so, you know, these players, it means more than just a football game.
Austin Bryers comes in at fullback, and he'll line up in front of Smith.
Look who's over far on the right. Big old 44 on offense.
They bring
Wings
Johnson
on that
in.
corner, too.
They're going that way.
No doubt about it.
Yes.
Unbalanced look.
They do. Ed Smith.
Look
Gonna
at
have the
Dan
first
Brennan
down.
doing some formation recognition. Can we put you at linebacker tonight?
Well, that'd be a
Jimmy
big
Perry.
mistake.
This campus right here, you had a lot of Gruden time with Jimmy Perry.
Yeah, Jimmy Perry, the old coach here, who's now back up in Montgomery, he'd sit me down and he'd give me about an hour of his best work on the whiteboard.
He's at Carroll. They're playing Bayside tonight. They're one of the only 2 teams left in 5A undefeated, and only one of the 20 remaining in the whole state.
No
Jimmy
kidding.
Perry's team. Yep, Jimmy Perry's team.
Boy, great guy.
Oh, we loved him here when he was with St. Paul's. Now they'll bunch it up to the near side on 1st and 10. Smith goes into the pile and picks up a few. So many, we just saw it right there again as well. So many of these Mason Watts helping pull Smith up after the tackle. I mean, these kids all know one another. They all have grown up playing on the same baseball teams and park teams, and just a lot of great friends.
And great sportsmanship.
Yep,
what you're
absolutely.
seeing.
I've got an observation after this play, guys, in terms of formation and what St. Paul's maybe trying to set up.
2nd and 7. Paget now split out wide with Smith. Wheelman to the bottom of the screen, and Jalen Armour-Davis in the slot. Lyle zips it to the far side, and he's trying to come to Wheelman, and he just fired it over his head. They're trying to set up something quick. All right, let's watch the isolation to the near side.
Ball's about to hit you at your home right there. Now, when you're 4 wide, it's pretty obvious. It's either a quarterback draw or something quick or something in the air. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point under center, everything bunched tight, play action that way, where it's not an obvious passing formation, and let Lyle air one out.
Okay.
3rd and 7, and he'll go under center here with Smith.
Fans keep that in the back of your head.
In the backfield, they'll pitch it to him. Now going to pitch it again to Davis, and he's going to be tracked all the way back to midfield. Still on his feet and dropped at the 49. Russ Myers, a great job, Vic Lockett. How about staying in your assignment on a play like this if you're a defensive player?
Defense right there. They didn't fool him at all with the reverse. Hey, you're not going to pursue stuff going away from you if you've got responsibility for backside. 32 shows you how it's done right there.
UMS-Wright defense has been showing us a lot of things tonight.
Yeah, Russ has been playing very well. Russ
Yep.
Myers there.
Clifton Inge did a good job to disrupt that play and force Jalen Armour-Davis to go back, and then was finished off by Myers. And
Davis has got great speed, but when you're going sideways, it doesn't help much.
Blackinger, great kick, chases Pugh all the way back, who grabs it at the 12. And he goes down. Let's go down to Tara. She's got our Faulkner State Educator Spotlight.
Thanks so much, Jim. I'm here with UMS headmaster, Dr. Tony Havard. And Dr. Havard, tell us about some of the facilities and their improvements that they're making at UMS.
Well, we're in the 3rd year of a 5-year capital campaign, and we just finished a brand new 5th and 6th grade building, which replaced one of the oldest buildings on our campus. So we're very excited about that. And you can imagine this day and age, I think facilities are more important to a good academic program than ever before. So with the technology you need and the rest of the details that go into a facility, it's given us a real leg up in our middle school. But I think probably the thing I'm most proud of is a lot of our student achievements. And you'll be talking to the dad of one of our really outstanding students here in a little bit. But last year, out of a class of 86, we had 36 of those students who made an ACT score of over 30. As a matter of fact, on our offensive line, we got 3 senior offensive linemen, all of whom have made 31 or higher on the ACT. So it's a real good group. I think our student achievement is higher probably than it's ever been, and we think this senior class is going to be outstanding as well. So we're very blessed, and very blessed to have students like Samuel Plash and his family.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Havard. And you're doing a great job. The campus at UMS is gorgeous. Back up to you, Jim.
And, you know, all the great academic work that is put in at UMS-Wright. Dr. Havard, I mean, he's the guy driving the bus there.
Yeah, and has been driving that thing a long time, and the drumbeat just keeps on going, and they produce great students, great citizens, and what a legacy, and then great football teams on top of that, and great athletics.
And great facilities, and I bet that bus you're talking about he's driving in the cheese wagon. I bet it's an air-conditioned coach.
It's a nice one.
3rd and 7 here for the Bulldogs. Michael Matthews, and nothing doing on that one as Brian Johnson comes in, and exactly what the Saints needed there. They needed to force a 3 and out, and now they've got a chance to flip the field again.
Well, you've got an SEC-type defensive lineman on your team, and in a game like this, he really needs to assert himself, and he really has.
Yeah,
that was a great play.
Jim's called his name quite a few times, this Ryan Johnson kid. He is just jumping off the screen.
Kind of moved him around. They had him standing up at linebacker. Now they've kind of moved him up on the D-line as Riccone will punt. Eaton. There's a line drive. Eaton takes it at the 40, and he's got some green space in front of him. And he's to the 30, maybe the 29, in great field position here for the St. Paul Saints. And 4:14 left here in the second quarter. It's been an entertaining game thus far. The 4A UMS-Wright Bulldogs leading their 5A rivals 21-7, but the Saints with great field position coming up after this. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Vic Lockett, Tara Reeves, Brian Anderson, our statistician, Jared Kihas, and our entire crew. Hey, look on Twitter if you want to get a real good look at our crew on game day. We got some great behind-the-scenes photo from their setup practice.
You know, you happen to catch them right during the siesta. That was a low blow.
You can see it on the UTV 44 Twitter page. They retweeted, or on Half a Drink on Twitter. That's half. First down for the Saints. Smith trying to spin. And speaking of Tara, let's go down to her. She's got another one of our Gulf Coast offices of Alexander Shinara, a Scholastic athlete.
Okay, I'm here with...
All right, we'll come back to Tara on 2nd and 9. Paget split out wide. Willman and Smith in the backfield for Swift Lyle. Lots of time. Looks now pressure coming from Goff again. And Mason there to give him pressure as well. And, you know, said not a guy who runs a lot, but he's really run the ball well tonight. Let's go back down to Tara for our Scholastic Athlete of the Week.
I'm here with Samuel Plash's dad, Paige Plash, and now Paige. Samuel excels both on the football field and on the baseball field, but can you tell us a little bit about some of his academic achievements?
Oh yeah, I'll be glad to. He's SGA president. That's something he's voted on by the students, so he's really proud of that. And then he's a National Merit semifinalist and an AP Scholar of Distinction. So and he's 35 on his ACT.
Absolutely incredible. And then Samuel is your 4th child to go through the UMS-Wright school system.
He certainly is. When he graduates, we'll have had children there for 29 years. So they've just done a great job with every one of our children of helping them be the very best that they can be.
Well, on behalf of the Gulf Coast Law Offices of Alexander Shinara, we'd like to present you with this plaque and a $250 cash scholarship.
Well, thank you very much. We certainly appreciate it.
You know, something else that Samuel Plash has, Jim, is a heck of a dad.
Oh, we'll talk about him in a second. You see the 4.86 GP. But Jared had to send me a separate email just on all the accomplishments for Jared. National Honor Society, also the Science National Honor Society, English National Honor Society, Spanish National Honor Society, National Social Studies Honor Society, Cum Laude Society, and then he does a lot of other things too.
Just to sum it up, all around,
I mean, just
National Honor Society,
but
all
really,
American.
Yeah, but Dan talked about his great family. His mom and dad, Paige Plash, there owns Encore Rehabilitation. Has been a supporter of high school athletics statewide for as long as we've been doing this, Dan Brennan.
He's got a big heart. It's not just business, but a big heart for these athletes that we see on the field in every sport.
Yep, and all throughout the state, and just been a big supporter of high school sports, and it's great kids have come through here, and congratulations to Samuel, one of those very high ACT offensive linemen, 35 on the ACT. Well,
that's the max score. You don't get any higher.
1st and 10 for the Saints. To the near side, Jalen Armour. Davis trying to make a move, and a big hit as Davis collision over there with a sophomore, Jaden Roberson. Davis, a junior, Roberson, a sophomore. And
they got a flag on the ground. I think it's going to be a hold.
Big collision here.
The screen there. He had some blocks out there. One of them was a little bit of a hold, though.
Let's go to listen. Nick Lockett did spot it. Costly penalty. Some more folks watching the game tonight. He's on the Saints side. The Long brothers, Forrest Long, Bennett Long, both watching, cheering on their Saints tonight. 1st and 20 now, back at the 27. Wow. Pressure from the backside. Sisson after him, fires this one.
Nice effort.
That was actually Inge. Actually, it was Inge coming on the chase.
Was it Inge? Okay.
I thought it was Sisson first, but it was Inge there. And
great effort by him.
And you know, pretty good play by Lau there, not to force him, just throw it away. And
yeah, and you know, his feet are quicker than I remembered from a year ago. I saw him playing a little bit in practice, and you know, these big rangy kids, they develop, you know, a little differently, and he's quicker now, and he can get away from some of that trouble.
Our friend David Morris really likes where this young man's going.
He does, and he's among those QB country kids, and I happened to attend an event where he was practicing last summer, and good prospect.
Second down here for the Saints. More time. Wow, looking to the right now, underneath, able to come, and a big hit. The ball's loose again, jarred loose. Now going to say incomplete. Wow, it was Walker Breland who put the big hit on Smith, and Dalton Goff is saying, come on, I was going to have another one.
Yep. And Coach Sude in the next booth, he is emphatic that that was a catch and a fumble.
Leading tackler for the Bulldogs, Walker Breland. Boy, this is where the Saints are so deadly, is those underneath plays.
Yeah, I thought he made a football move there. Took a couple of steps, and that looked like a clean fumble to me.
And it would have been another touchdown defensively for the Bulldogs because there was nobody around Dalton Goff. 3rd down. And 20 for the Saints. Pressure coming from Goff, middle of the field, throws and completes it down to the 11-yard line as he gets Tyler Padgett.
Tyler did a great job of securing the football in the middle of that zone and then get down real quick because it was trouble waiting on him.
And I love Lyle staying in there. He knows the pressure's coming from Goff.
Yeah, and
wow.
It is
great job.
Coney's coming in, and Padgett's able to make the play. But again, I'm really impressed with the arm talent of Lyle.
Yeah, he delivered the football.
4th and 2 after the 18-yard pickup on 3rd down. Wow, looks over to the sidelines. No hesitation.
Unbalanced look again.
Smith in the backfield. See if they go to the right. They do. They give it to Smith. He's hit and dropped and stopped. Great penetration by the Bulldogs. First one in there leading the way, Will Courtney.
Yeah, they got that slant going to the left where the heavy offense was set up, so that disrupted it in the backfield.
Courtney, a junior, comes in there and blows it up. Everybody knew they were going that way, and Courtney fought through it and makes the stop.
UMS-Wright really answering the call tonight in every phase.
And St. Paul's has got to break their tendencies if they're expected to feed them the way they're playing right now, because they are well prepared for them defensively. UMS is.
I agree.
2 minutes to go here in the first half, and UMS will get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. And Tanner Allen hops out past the 20. And Time to get our New Horizons trivia question. Hey, it's World Series time. We got some baseball going. Former Saint just recently, like a couple of weeks ago, nominated for the 2016 Major League Baseball Roberto Clemente Award. Former St. Paul Saint.
I'm not even going to try baseball. You got me. I'm stumped.
I thought this would be the one you would look at me like Dan Brennan, like, really? That's what you're throwing out there? 9-yard pickup.
Yeah.
Tanner Allen on first down, and he's down, gives it to Williams, and boy, Ryan Johnson, he is going to remember his last UMS St. Paul's matchup here.
Yeah, he's got Jim Cox just saying his name on record.
Under a minute to go here, 3rd and 5. Now, if you start to think about a timeout through the Saints, Terry Curtis is just happy to let the play clock wind down, pin down deep in his own end here. So now with 49 seconds left.
I think he would be content to go into the half 21-7. I think if you guys would have told him that on the pregame show, he would have probably not believed you.
Bring Will Courtney over there to help block as well. And this is Allen getting to the outside. He's getting about first down and more. And Allen up near the 40.
And they changed the play calling at this point.
Again, just showing some speed and then give it a shot. You catch somebody asleep on the corner, that can run.
Yeah, he was definitely sleep over there towards the right side. They didn't defend the edges there.
GoBuildAlabama.com first down. Look, he could chase one down, headed to the gap.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got good athletic instincts, doesn't he? That's what you want in center field.
Up to the 35-yard line is where they'll say. They'll spot officially the 36 where he stepped out of bounds. Curtis. That was the number of Terry Allen again.
What's Dale County going to think when they see this film of this UMS-Wright team on this night?
UMS will be happy to go to the half on top, 21-7.
I tell you what they're thinking. We're going to have to readjust our plans.
A 3 seed. That's a 3 seed that you're looking at, right?
4A.
And, but Coach Curtis said, hey, Ned, and we might get a number 1 seed back at our house, go on the road and win. So, but this one a long way from being over. You have to feel there's some explosive plays on the St. Paul's side we're going to see.
Yep, I think they're probably going to, like Vic said, they could make some adjustments offensively. They've got the talent. Now it's the way they attack. So let's see what happens in the second half.
All right. Let's see if Tara has caught up with Coach Curtis. She has. Let's get down to Tara.
Coach, you've scored all 3 of your touchdowns as a result of forced turnovers. Talk about the physicality and intensity that your defense is playing with right now.
Well, I think it's pretty good on both sides. There's some hitting going on out there, and I think our offense is getting after it. We're playing physical. We've had bad field position, and our defense is playing lights out. We gave up the one big pass in the middle. They picked up the fumble and ran it in and got their point. So I couldn't be more proud right now. They're a good football team, and we're playing with them. The second half's going to be a whole different story. And, Tanner's playing great. He's giving it in there enough. And then when he pulls it, he's had some room to run. So we get the ball first, and we got to do something with it.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach.
All right. Thanks, Terry Curtis. Real excited the way his team is playing. And like I say, he said it there. He knows what the second half is going to be like. There's going to be more bounce back from these Saints. But we have seen some great individual efforts on Friday nights. James Clemens last week for the Davidson Warriors, a great night. Had big receptions. Also had that one big key block that Vic Lockett loved on another touchdown by the Warriors. And it was great to see Davidson get here and get on TV. And Clemens been a big reason why this year.
Yeah, they were a fun team to watch because they were well coached, well prepared. Everybody understood what their assignment was. They got some excitement with that quarterback right there. And Clemens had to wait on that one, but
when you got a receiver like that, makes the quarterback look much, much better.
And they got a few more, too.
They got the combination going on.
Well, we're going to have 2 other candidates besides Dalton Golf at the end of tonight's game that you'll be able to vote on for the player of the game. Go to local15tv.com, and you'll be able to vote on the player of the week. Come back, we'll hear the UMS-Wright Marching Band. It's senior night here at St. Paul's. UMS with a lead right now, 21-7. Pepsi halftime show here at St. Paul's, the Battle of Old Shell Road. UMS-Wright and St. Paul's 21-7 right now. The Bulldogs have the lead. Let's go down and enjoy the Bulldog Marching Band. Show continues on here at the half. UMS leads 21-7. Let's go down and get the St. Paul's marching band. Here's your halftime score in the Battle of Old Shell Road. 21-7, last game of the regular season here tonight. A lot of teams getting ready for the playoffs, including these two. UMS-Wright will be on the road at Dale County. St. Paul's will be home here next week, taking on Charles Henderson. What a first half we had here. Vic Lockett likes to talk about it. Dan Brennan does 2 points off of turnovers, and boy, it was a crazy first period and 16 seconds of this one.
You know, there's a lot of energy coming off the defensive side of the football a few times, and it's resulted in some big plays.
Well, that's what wins championships, and I think these two teams looking like they're on another championship drive. Points off turnovers is really, really big.
Yeah, 3 first-half turnovers for the Saints. Here's how it got started. Saints had already turned it over, and then here Tanner Allen goes in for the touchdown. That was a great read, Vic Lockett said. And then this ball came loose, and it was Holden O'Gwynn who grabbed it, made a great play, was not ruled down, was able to pick it up and go. And then Ty Riccone able to come up with an interception, but the great interception was this one right here. Dalton Goff, one-handed linebacker, goes up and takes it the other way, and he almost had another one on a bang-bang play that was ruled an incomplete pass. Otherwise, he would have picked it up and it would have gone to the house again. So there you see our stats in the first half, and what a first half for UMS on the road. They lead 21-7. You can see not a lot of discrepancy, 4 yards difference in total yards, but it's the turnovers, those 3, and they all led to points, as Vic Lockett mentioned. We take a look at Tanner Allen doing it with his feet. 6 rushes, 39 yards. Matthews kind of grinding away, just 27 yards. And St. Paul's with Swift Wild just 2 of 10 in that first half. And let's go down on the sideline. Tara is there. I know she caught up with Steve Mask as he came out of the dressing room. Tara.
Thanks, Jim. I sure did. Coach Mass said here in the second half, bottom line, his team just has to try. And obviously they're going to have to quit turning the ball over if they're going to win here in the second half. Jim?
Kind of uncharacteristic of a St. Paul's team, but I know one characteristic we will see is how they come back and respond in the second half here. This is a lot of playmakers on this team, a big offense that scores a lot of points, and you would expect that they will get some big plays and maybe find some different ways, Dan Brennan, to get the ball in the playmakers' hands on that side of the ball.
You know, we can lean on Vic on this, but they have a lot of formations. They can come at you and show you a lot of things offensively. So far, UMS-Wright has been pretty much ready for whatever they've shown. And I could see more rushes in spread formations and maybe some passes in some spots where they're lined up tight.
In the run formation.
In the run formation, you've got a very talented quarterback. You've got to get him unlocked. You've got to get this kid unlocked offensively to take advantage of one of the great advantages that I think St. Paul's potentially has, and that is with a strong-arm quarterback and some talent on the outside. They've got to figure out that Rubik's Cube. How do you make that work?
And I think this is where you see you got a great defensive mind there in Steve Mask. You've got he's got Jay Koziel, defensive coordinator over at UMS-Wright. Terry Curtis on the offensive side. Coach Sullivan over here on the offensive side for the Saints. So there's going to be some adjustments in that chess match going on, Coach Vic Lockett, as we turn to you.
I agree. I mean, St. Paul's, they've done what they look like they're going to do, and that's not the way UMS is allowing them to play. UMS is going to be prepared and ready, as you always see when you play them. You've got to break some tendencies, look like. I think Coach Mass, he's like lining up and knocking you off the ball. Well, tonight, probably going to have to do a couple of tricks.
Wilson Beaverstock to kick off to start the second half. And Ty Riccone will take it at the 6 for the Bulldogs. Straight ahead, and he's got a gap. Gets grabbed up high and out to the 30-yard line.
Almost a clothesline there on the kickoff. But thank God he's okay, and it wasn't truly one there.
A lot of speed coming up there. More of the great folks who bring you high school football every Friday night here in our UA Early College Game of the Week. The Sheriff's Offices of Mobile and Baldwin County and the Drug Education Council. Also, GoBuildAlabama.com. And our friends at Buffalo Rock Pepsi bringing you our halftime show each and every week here on Friday nights. Playoffs start next week, but we got a half of the regular season. Half of football left in the regular season here as Allen up to the 35-yard line. And Ryan Johnson chases him down before Andrew Wing comes over to help finish him off.
Ryan Johnson picking up where he left off. Andrew cleaning up the trash with him. Got to mention Jason Cannell checking in with me. He enjoyed the halftime, and now he's sitting back looking at a little football probably with his son. Congrats to him as well. He's expecting another one.
So a pickup of 5 on first down for Allen, and now we get a heading out, trying to get the play clock reset. There's Coach Terry Curtis
looking in closely.
2 losses this year, 1 at Thomasville, 1 in week 1 to Mary G. And now they'll find their rhythm, it looks like. Terry Curtis, Mobile Hall of Fame in 2005. Alabama High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame in 2004. Matthews pushes up to the 39. We talked about it on the pregame show, Dan Brennan, and in case you didn't see it, we talked with Terry when we started doing these games in 2000. It was kind of a new thing to do high school football on TV in this market, and there were some schools that weren't sure how to do it, and Terry Curtis was one of the first ones saying, this is great, this is going to be great for the kids. Anybody doesn't want to have you, we'll welcome you every week. And he's been a big supporter of this product for all schools ever since.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the great Bulldog teams through the years and make some fantastic playoff runs, too. They've been able to follow their success.
3rd and 1. Allen on the left side pulls it down. He's going to have another UMS first down right at midfield.
Leaps over the bench there at the end, shows his athleticism.
Quick feet.
And high feet there.
Decision making as well. And hey, while we're here at St. Paul's, I do want to tip our collective hats to the volleyball team. Beat Alexandria for their first state title since 2004, but their 8th since 2006 here for St. Paul's. So congratulations. Coach Lisa Marston just took over after Kelly Hillier had the great success here. And nothing there on first down as Ryan Johnson's there. So
he's up to about 90 tackles right now.
He's been busy.
He's got offers from everywhere, I understand, and he's showing us why.
Just back on that volleyball, congratulations again to St. Paul's, also to St. Luke's. They won their first ever volleyball tournament to go with those 2 1A state baseball titles they have. And Bayside, like I said, life, death, taxes, and Bayside.
Yeah, Bayside volleyball.
Volleyball tournament. 15 in a row, I believe now.
High school championship time in Alabama.
2nd and 10. Matthews, now he pitches it back to Pugh.
Nice job.
Tried to cut it back there, and again coming in to make a great play is the junior linebacker, Carnes Kirby.
And Carnes Kirby, he's playing a well of a game as well. Look at him right there. Beats the block, and then say, oh, wow, look at here. Ball carrier.
You got guys that are in the backfield like they know what's coming. And Kirby, on a number of occasions, has made big plays. Hasn't always made the tackle, but he's run the interference to get a player going the wrong way. There he gets the stop.
Yeah, Coach Mass gonna have him coached up as well. See it there.
Loss of 5 here, 3rd and 15 for the Bulldogs. Pugh comes in motion, play clock at 1. They barely get it off. Allen rolls out, sets his feet, fires to the far side, picked off.
Yeah, there's Drew Wing showing up.
Andrew Wing comes up and gets the INT around midfield.
It's his 2nd for the season. I know his dad's excited about that. I visited with him at halftime. Back there just lurking as a safety and steps right in front of the receiver it was intended for.
Yeah, I don't think the receiver did a great job coming back to the football to help the quarterback out. And that one was kind of waiting for it. And so our 5th turnover in the game here tonight.
And so his mom as well, Dr. Stacy Wing, during halftime.
At the 49. Wow. He wants to pull it down, and he's pressured and forced out of bounds as Trez Dixon. All right, let's go back down on the sidelines. Tara's got another one of our Faulkner State Educator Spotlights. Tara.
Thanks so much, Jim. I'm here with Elizabeth Gregory. And Elizabeth, tell us what students get with a St. Paul's education.
At St. Paul's, our education is based on 4 pillars: academics, arts, spirituality, and athletics. So it's all about what happens in the classroom, on the court, in the theater. It's about the relationships we build at St. Paul's.
And then can you tell me a little bit about some of the different events for prospective families?
Absolutely. We have our lower school open house November 6th from 3 to 4:30 for lower school prospective students and their parents pre-K through 2nd grade. And we also have a campus preview on November 13th for grades 3 through 9 prospective students and their families.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thank you for having me.
Another, we talked about UMS in the first half, but such a great, so many things over here. State championships, great academics. That's a fine institution here at St. Paul's.
Yeah, it's
and I know
hard,
you know firsthand.
I do. It's hard to poke holes in what they do at St. Paul's.
Swift Lyle wants to air this one out, looking for some separation. It's going to be pass interference.
On who, Jim?
Jalen Armour Davis. There was some hand grabbing going there with Pugh, but you know what?
I thought it was
Pugh
both ways.
And Davis is about to run by me, I'll take the penalty.
Yeah, it was some hand checking going on, and it's like, who you going to call it on, Jim?
Heck of a throw again. That's what I'm saying. You've got a quarterback with a rare arm. He's got to play a big role in your offensive comeback and game plan here in the second half. Don't y'all think?
And Davis had a chance to pull that one out even with the contact.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I think the receiver initiated that. I'm biased towards the defense as well.
Yeah. 100 out of 100% of the time you are.
You're biased toward the defense to the point of ridiculous. And I love you, man.
Smith in the backfield with Lyle. Paget to the bottom of the screen. A pair of receivers up top. They zip this one out, and it goes in and out of the hands of intended receiver Robert Hansen. And Hansen and Walker Breland exchange pleasantry over there. And I mean that in sincerity.
Yeah.
2nd and 10 coming up. Well, we have got more people watching the game here tonight with the Saints on offense. Reminds me, I've got a friend of mine watching the game tonight. The St. Paul Saints all-time leader in holding calls against him. Robert Cook watching the game, former center for the Saints.
Set him up nice there, Jim.
On the right side, Swift Lyle takes a big hit just short of the sticks.
Yeah, nice job by number 7 coming up there to rush him out of bounds.
Hustle coming over there to
Trez Dixon.
Yep. Junior physical cornerback there. Cook was here, graduated 2000, the Eddie Guth years, our first year doing TV games.
I got it.
He played as a freshman, he was the quarterback. As a senior, he was the center.
Dan, let's see if they break this. Well, they bring Wing into motion to the opposite side from the
3rd and 2. Play clock under 5 for the Saints. Gonna have to hurry now down to 2. They do get it off, and they give it off to Smith on the right side. Bulls ahead.
Yeah, they had Ryan Johnson in there over an extra tight end, the unbalanced look.
Ryan Johnson is like having 2 extra tight ends.
Well, he can occupy 2 people. Coach Mass will take it.
They're going to have to see if they measure on this one.
Wow.
Indeed they will. No doubt Coach Mass can go for a territory here. Oh, good.
He'll take his pocket knife out and see if he can get some air between him and the ball.
He's going to say first down.
Okay. By a hair.
Man. See the name on the little guy out there, the ball boy? As you see these names keep on populating these rosters. Fleming.
Oh.
So another Fleming.
Bo Fleming, while he was one of the early just play his tail off kids remember from doing these games here. On
either Bo or his brother's little guy right there.
First down here for the Saints in the pitch. Smith, pressure coming in, sheds 1 tackle, but not the second at the 30-yard line as he's wrapped up and brought down.
Continuing to do what they look like they're going to do.
Yeah, and against UMS-Wright tonight, that kid right there. My word.
Yeah, what a night. He was in there. Sisson was in there. Inge was in there.
Beating blocks and penetrating and blowing things up.
Well, you got the bunch to the left side, and it's a 1st and down. You would think they're going to run it that way, but I'm telling you, UMS defense is prepared for what you looking like you're going to do.
Yep. Sisson with the penetration. Initially, Jim called it.
Yep. Breland also in there to help for the Bulldogs. 2nd and 13. Wants to air it out up top, back there in coverage, all the way back there, Dalton Golf, but the catch is made.
Nice job.
Wow.
Nice ball placement as well.
Yeah, Golf was back there, but
I think he's probably got the height advantage.
Well, that's a tough matchup for a linebacker going up against Eaton. And Eaton does a great job to stay focused and make the catch on that one.
Golf, great position.
Yeah.
He was there.
How about the throw? Good throw.
This kid can throw it.
And 1st and goal for the Saints as we reach the halfway point of quarter number 3.
They've never really been able to power the ball. That's what they'll try to do here, I would think.
Beard in the backfield. Lyle wants to keep it, and he'll be dropped for a loss. Great penetration by the Bulldogs. Walker Breland.
Got to take care of the line of scrimmage first and foremost. And right now, UMS is winning it. Oh, look at that. Fight off the block of that receiver. That's how you play defense.
You love that big block.
Yes. It's not the times you make the play when you're unblocked. It's the times you make the play when you are blocking. You make yourself unblockable.
And they're asking their quarterback to do a lot, like make big plays in the red zone now, when you would hope, as a St. Paul's offense, you could turn it over to your running game.
Lyle dumps out of the backfield. Nicely drawn up play to get that one off to Beard, who lunges. And they're going to say he's just shy.
Back
around.
step
him out on the 2.
Yeah, at the 2. So they've still got some work to do. The way this UMS-Wright defense is playing, they're not giving you an inch.
Yeah, they're making them earn it.
Yep.
And that was what the coaches told me that they're going to have to make them do. And here they go again with the unbalanced look. They bring in Ryan. They put Wing over there in the wing. See if they motion him back this side or keep him play side.
3rd and goal. Beard is the tailback. He'll take the pitch, goes to that right side.
Short.
Lyle says touchdown, but the officials say no.
Doing what you look like you're going to do.
Yeah, they've not been able to beat UMS-Wright when they've shown their hand.
Yeah.
That is so much effort that we're seeing on the Bulldog side.
This drive started at midfield.
Same formation, same personnel.
4th.
Adding something to the outside.
Goal here. And movement up front.
And they were going to block down, and I don't know. That looked like a boot setting up there.
Ah, okay.
This will back him.
So we're at 2nd down?
We're down at 4th.
Well, the down marker says 2, and I know I've heard something else, so.
False start here against the Saints.
Wait a second now. For some reason, St. Paul's thought that UMS-Wright, now there was obviously some early movement on the right side of the line of scrimmage for St. Paul's.
All right, so
2nd down on the down marker. Same formation, same personnel.
Swift Lyle with the pitch, trying to cut it back is Beard. And he's stopped.
They did break their tendency there.
Well, I've just gotten upside down on the downs.
Yeah, me too. So,
yeah, I have been this whole series. I know I've been hearing one thing and seeing another. So, and the ref is saying 3rd down with his fingers.
Ty Riccone was over there saying the same thing. He's like, wait a minute. So now it's 3rd and goal from. Now the official's trying to. Yeah, the UMS sideline is like saying.
Here, the situation I thought we were at was 4th and goal.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I thought it was 4th and goal from the 1.
Because they had the ball inside the 10 to start that possession.
Yes. And they got dropped back for a loss.
Right.
And
then
a
screen pass maybe, or something
screen
got them
pass
close.
down to the 2.
Right. They lost down.
Terry Curtis saying it's 4th down. We stopped him.
Yeah, he's going to go with 3. I definitely was looking at the down marker, and it didn't look right to me, but
he wants the referee to come over.
I've got no idea how when the team starts out 1st and goal.
It was goal for sure.
They lose 2 or 3. The screen gets him down to the 2-yard line. He doesn't quite make it in on third down. 4th down, they jump off sides. The referees indicated 2nd down, so they run a play they would not have run on.
And now they're not
down.
even saying it's 4th down. Now they're saying it's 3rd down.
They get about 2 to 3 extra downs.
I think they got 2 extra downs for certain.
This is crazy.
You know, Terry Curtis all the way out near the numbers. Now Steve Mask getting a conversation with the referee. So if he comes over there, then you would guess that he's also will go over and talk on the other side at some point.
So I'll tell you what, this is something that will go down in legend if it affects the game for certain.
If they give them 2 more downs, that would be amazing. First down at the 9, they lose a few. 2nd down, they throw a screen. They get down to the 2. 3rd down, they hand it off on a power play. They don't get in. 4th down, they jump off sides. They move it back to the 6. I don't know what I'm missing.
They get stopped on 4th down.
Right, but they ran. But the marker said 2, so they ran a play that they would not have run on 4th and goal from the 6.
And now they're saying it's still saying it's 3rd down.
He's giving an explanation now to Coach Curtis.
Well, good luck with this being a solid explanation. Check my phone, see what's coming in. Maybe somebody can tell me something I don't.
And I have heard from my good buddy, that's a referee, Ron Coleman, that there is a special situation. If the down marker is marked incorrectly, somebody can get a huge advantage.
Lev Holly texting in right now saying this could be the difference in the game if it's not overturned.
Could be.
Lev Holly, head coach of Blunt Leopards, watching.
And Coach Curtis is regurgitating the series of plays to him, to the ref, so he'll know. Coach Mask just hanging on to see what happens.
And we are sure this is the 3rd quarter and not the 4th quarter. That's how
you know what?
Using the discount.
I'm not sure of anything. I just got a text from a former coach. What down is it?
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm replying to him 5th.
with 6th.
I'm saying 6th down.
Yeah, I mean I could, but I mean it.
But, you know, I've had too many hits to the head to be asking me to make a record.
Here we see Randy Kennedy getting in the middle of it, and not sure what he's adding to it unless he's got his official scorekeeper pad out there.
Or maybe he's going to replay the radio broadcast to him.
He may be keeping a play-by-play log.
So they're still trying to sort things out here.
Steve's saying it should be 1st and goal Saints at this point.
Why not? He's gotten a couple of extra ones. Maybe he can get a 3rd.
I don't know how they're going to resolve it. I mean, what do you do? Colorado, Nebraska.
Yeah.
There may be some folks at home that are
rewind the DVR.
Rewind the DVR
yeah, go
right
back
now.
on the DVR
and they can text, call, whatever. Hey guys, us. Let us know what you see, because my recollection is 1st and goal from the 9, losing a couple. 2nd and goal from the 11 or so, gaining 9 down to the 2 on a screen. 3rd down tight, running a power play that doesn't make it. 4th and goal and jumping off sides. and then it was 4th down when they played again.
Willie Wilcox watching it. He says, that you're right, that was 4th down. He just rolled it back on the DVR watching us. I was pretty sure it was when I was saying it's 4th and goal from the 1, and then but the down marker was
so if it was
down.
correct, Jim, you'd say it's 4th down or it's UMS ball.
UMS ball.
Should have been UMS ball a play ago.
UMS ball when they went for it, when the marker said 2nd, but it was really 4th.
Yeah, and Ty Riccone made the stop and was in on the stop. He went over
like
he was
it.
like, yeah, we just made the stop.
Right.
And this is all right. Lev Howley says 3rd down, turnover on down, 2nd down screenplay, 3rd down, big package, power toss, 4th and 1 offside. Replay the 4th down for the 6 toss sweep, stopped at the 3.
Yeah.
So
they've had 1 extra play.
Yes.
We're about to get their 1 extra play
and
right
potential
now.
2 more.
I'll go with Lev Hawley. I'll go with Coach Hawley.
Coach Hawley's going with me.
So all of us were locking. You were the one who started getting us screwed up in the booth. Dan and I were like, it's 4th down. Wow. So here we go. Here, a 3rd and goal from the 3. This could go down in history. And now another false start on the right side of the Saints line. And this will give them a 1st down back at the 8. This is going to bring up, so by the current calculation, so it's going to be, and that's what we'll go, it's going to be 3rd and goal from the 8.
When it should be possession UMS.
Well, Dan, I'm sure this one will be in the books. In your book that you write.
Well,
and
have you ever seen
I was a part of it.
Right now, a texter just texted again saying it's now 7th down. Now that's a little, it's not far.
They're close.
That was Scott Cooper texting in, and he's a little on the
bias.
All right, so 3rd and goal from the 8. Lyle fires, looking for the end zone. Incomplete. And this will bring up 4th down.
Down.
Go ahead, say it again, Big Long.
Yeah, I said now it is really 4th down. Down marker just a good goal.
Swatch here. Trying to get Eaton over there, and Eaton almost a great catch. And Goff back in coverage.
I'll tell you, Goff, man, he just plays his tail off. What a player.
Yeah, they're doing a good job to isolate him there, but he's made the bail.
All right, 4th down again here. 4th and goal from the 8. And we got, I do want to, hey,
9 on the play clock.
Yeah, I think St. Paul's going to have to probably take a timeout here. And
that timeout will be charged to UMS.
Wow, that was a wonky series, to say the least.
Man.
And it's still ongoing because it's 4th and goal from the 8. Hey, I do want to say a special hello to a friend of ours watching the game who's seen a lot of these games, the UMS St. Paul's games. Our friend Billy Dow watching the game at home tonight, Dan Brennan.
That's our guy right there.
Billy Dow, good man.
Oh, his son Preston played on this team. Billy, another big supporter of high school football when we first got going here. And Billy watching this game tonight, and he's a
Preston, a great University of Alabama player.
He did say you need
to well in the business world now.
He did say
his dad did.
You need to tighten up. He said, tell Lockett to tighten up. That's what he just texted me.
Tight as a drum.
So we appreciate Billy watching the game and all the support he gave us. He and Terry Curtis with lots of football stories they've shared over the years with us. And good to have Billy watching our game here. And, you know, do you think there just might be a little signage on Old Shell Road tomorrow? Kind of like the Common Cowboys maybe having a little playing with what we just saw here.
You know, just my phone is...
Oh, it's going crazy.
Yeah, right. And it's a Samsung, so I'm a little concerned in the first place. But so I don't want to say
is that
it's
approved for the booth?
Sean Sullivan watching, saying that he thought it was a touchdown Saints. So that's just, you know, we're getting both sides of the equation here.
Speaking of people watching, I ran into Tony McCarron at halftime, and he says he's normally watching St. Paul's and watching us do a lot of games. A.J. McCarron's dad, and he said he decided to come out tonight.
All right, 4th and goal from the 8. Lyle looking for Padgett in the right corner. Nobody there. Pressure coming. Fires it back. Incomplete. And UMS will take over on defense after the great defensive stand there.
They did a great job. I think they wanted to throw the pass back across the field, but the defense was ready and disciplined and where they supposed to be. Two people were actually over there covering him.
What a change just on so many levels here. Now you've got, if you're the St. Paul Saints, you got UMS pinned back deep in their own end. You're still down by a couple of scores, but wow, this is going to be a new chapter in the rivalry between these two schools.
Yeah. This is, I'd have to, I can't imagine what the explanation can be.
Tanner Allen to get to the outside. He'll get dropped.
I hate to criticize people on their job because it's so easy for anybody to criticize us, for me. But
we just gave him about 15 minutes of great material.
Well, you just sit there and say, how did that happen?
Well, I can tell you one thing. The dial marker guy, he was not flipping it, and he usually gets a signal from one of the referees to flip it.
Right.
And somewhere in that sequence, the communication wasn't done, nor was the referee just counting it down.
It's crazy.
And they've got a system where they do that.
Yeah, Holden O'Gwyn is down there with cramps. Crazy to see cramps almost in November, but such a warm night. And Holden's got the touchdown.
A couple more days than November, but you might as well say it's there, huh, Jim?
I'm with you.
The kid made a really heads-up play for the only touchdown of the evening for St. Paul's. It's UMS-Wright defense. You're put to the test when you are when the other team inadvertently is given 6 shots from inside the 9, basically.
More folks watching here. We've got the Buffkins, Russell and Molly, and the Lelands, Michael and Ashley, watching the game together tonight. Kind of a split house there. And Michael Leland thought the Saints should have punted on the second 4th down. That's what he was.
Sportsmanship.
That's what he was saying. That's what he thought it should have taken
I ran
place.
into Michael earlier this week.
Give up the middle, and Matthews with his biggest rip of the night, and he's out across the 30 to the 31.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting to see what would happen if Matthews gets to the next level, and we finally saw it right there.
Well, watch him jump through this crease right there.
Good seal block to send him through.
Yeah, but he broke a tackle basically at the line of scrimmage, and you got to hit this guy and maybe have a friend with you at the same time.
Yeah, these days they're not holes, they're creases. Also checking in tonight.
Terminology. Yeah.
I know one thing. That is an Alabama Secretary of State first down.
We'll take it.
At this point.
Coach Bradley Craig says UMS ball, too, should have been turned over.
Matthews trying to push ahead. Very interesting third quarter we've had. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Vic Lockett, Tara Reeves on the sideline, Jared Kihas in the truck, Brian Anderson, our statistician, our entire crew here on our last week of the regular season. We'll be with you in the playoffs, but to be tape delayed.
Well, it's been an interesting quarter if interesting means there were a series of plays that are going to be reviewed by the Supreme Court. Because that, as long as we've done this, have we ever seen that?
Tanner Allen pulls it down again, trying to get a block to the outside.
And they're going to get 72 on a takedown.
Gary Parker. There's a flag in that vicinity.
He's going to be successful, but he's just got a bit aggressive there with his hands.
UMS-Wright fans, we got a lot to look forward to in these playoffs this year. Looking at this team, the eye test.
And looking at what they're doing tonight is what you're referring to.
This is the first we've seen them.
Holding on the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. Replay second down.
And we've still got a lot of football to go here in this game. But if you remember last year, UMS down the road beat St. Paul's in that game. And Steve Mask, said, hey, that was, I don't know, call it a wake-up call or whatever it was, but it really made us kind of relook at ourselves. They went on to win 5 straight and claim their 2nd straight state championship.
Yeah, they took the bumpy road.
Yep, on the road. And Matthews to the 35-yard line as we're inside a minute and a half to go in the second quarter.
Talking about a guy that can shorten the game right there for UMS-Wright with the lead. Not that they're just going to lay down and just, toss sweep left and right. Herschel in 81. But what they're doing, what they can do if they stay ahead of the sticks is use this guy as much as possible.
Yeah, like I said, he does a great job just sneaking through those creases.
Third and 6. They give it right back to him and trying to get to the outside. And the Saints say, on that one.
Well, that's what Dan said. If you're going to tackle this guy, you're going to have to tackle him. Hey, and some of you buddies, you got to help me.
That was Trevor McGill, who was on the pregame show with us. A fine young man for the St. Paul Saints. Boy, Steve Mass just singing the praises of that young kid.
Yeah, it was great to have him on. Met his dad a year ago at a practice. Really nice guy and good young man. Bright future.
Bulldogs will have to snap it here. They're going to punt. With just about 2 seconds between the game clock and the play clock. Lots of special teams coaches in the stands below us here. Riccone on the punt. Kick to the near side, and a half-hearted fair catch called for by Eaton there. Wasn't real committed to the fair catch, but he's got it, and the Saints have it at the 32 to start things off in the fourth. UMS-Wright and St. Paul's. It's a good one here tonight, our game of the week on UTV 44. What a game here as we get ready to start the fourth battle, Old Shell Road, UMS and St. Paul's.
Halloween coming early here.
21-7. All our scoring in the first half is scoreless, but I would not say an uneventful third quarter. And the Saints have it back here after the punt to end the quarter, and Smith on the left side up to the 35-yard line. And let's go back on the sidelines for another Alexander Shannara Scholastic Athlete with Tara.
Thanks so much, Jim. I'm here with Parker Canada. And Parker, I understand that you were the 5A MVP in volleyball, and you guys just won state. How exciting. Tell me about that.
It's just so awesome. We won state yesterday, and it's my senior year, and I just can't express how amazing it is to end it like that, and especially get MVP. Just everyone's so deserving on the team, and I was just kind of shocked, honestly, but it's just an amazing thing to happen.
Completion to Jalen Armour Davis up to the 36-yard line. Back to Tara.
Thanks so much, Jim. And Parker, as a senior, you start to make college plans. Have you made any of those yet?
I'm either going to the University of Alabama or University of Georgia. I haven't decided yet, but I definitely know I want to study something medical. So in that, I don't know, but something like that. So
awesome, Parker. Well, on behalf of Alexander Shannara, we would like to present you with this plaque and a $250 scholarship.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, what a week for that young lady. That ball could be loose in a fumble. I thought that might have been a lateral coming here to the near side.
It was close.
And who was right over there next to the football again? It was Dalton Golf.
Of course.
Over there.
I'm not sure that was not a lateral, but at this point, I don't know what I'm looking at.
Hey, again, congratulations to Parker, and congratulations winning state here for the St. Paul Saints. She's on the headmaster's list and the Spanish Club all-country, all-county volleyball team. Must be all-country when you win state championship.
You know,
I just awarded her.
Yeah,
awarded that.
She's All-American.
Yeah, and
somebody go tell her.
Yes, she's a wonderful young lady and great in the classroom as well. Congratulations to her and all the St. Paul's volleyball players. Wow, looks to the near side, and that short hopped in and incomplete. And that'll bring up third down.
Well, the long play was spectacular, though, wasn't it? Again, a quarterback that can really throw it, and a receiver that went up and really made a play, and Armour Davis. And Mask is saying, hey, how about a little more of that?
Yep. Again, this is a game. Teams, both coaches love a game like this to get you ready for the playoffs because you know the type of opponent, schematically, what you're going to see, how good they are, how disciplined on both sides. We've seen that tonight. Pressure coming far side, and Riccone was trying to get over to it as it was overthrown for Jalen Armour Davis.
He had him open, too.
He did, and it will bring up fourth down for the Saints. Got more folks here watching the game. I want to give a special hello. Stedman McMurphy and his wife, Appy, just had a baby girl. Lanier Francis McMurphy. Stedman went to UMS, and he is watching the game and cheering on the Bulldogs tonight. 4th and 10 from the 37, and the Saints
electing to go for it this early, huh, Dan?
Yeah, fourth quarter.
5 wide receivers, bad snap. Lyle picks it up, now rolls. Looking, pressure coming. Heaves it out of bounds with the pressure from the backside from Mason Watts, and turnover on downs, and UMS will get it back as Swift Lyle. That one didn't have much of a chance with the bad snap. Really threw off the timing of the whole play.
It was a bad time for the bad snap, that's for sure. And then at that point, he just had to make some sort of a play that was out of the schoolyard, and penetration again, pursuit by UMS-Wright, and that just wasn't going to happen.
Here we go, the Bulldogs with it back. Upside, inside, and shut down on that one, coming over to
Reggie Bracey, huh?
Yep, coming into the secondary and stepping up there. Webb Holly thinking that was a lateral that we saw. So that one's 42 and missed the throw on the 44. So Holly was going back. Lev Holly, the blunt coach, watching the game tonight.
We might need to invite him in the booth for clarification at times.
There's not a lot of room this week, Vic.
Oh, man.
I'll put him on my shoulders. Good guy.
Allen spins ahead, and he's going to be to the 45-yard line, and 3rd and short coming up.
Who's ever watching, I got a lot of coaches texting me, too. They're watching a heck of a performance by UMS-Wright.
Well, everybody's off tonight, so they got a chance to take a look at us.
Just the gamesmanship of Tanner Allen tonight, just how he's just really not had to throw the ball a whole much, and really playing well, and kid loves to play football too. I mean, we talk about his baseball career, but he loves to play football.
He's a gamer, and Vic talked about that. Just the way he leads, the way he is heady with the football. Almost didn't play this year.
Matthews on the right side has the first down and more. Matthews inside the 30 all the way down to the 20. 25-yard gain.
This touchdown saving play there by Drew Wing, and I thought he was going to get the stiff arm, but he fought through the stiff arm to bring him down. Great run by that kid there, just getting through those creases and heading to the outside. Just couldn't quite finish the deal. It certainly kicked the streaks for a significant gain for his team.
Now, that may turn out to be a big play by Wing. Let's see what happens here if St. Paul's can bow up.
Yeah, they do need a play out of their defense to hold them to maybe a long field goal, Jim.
See, St. Paul's with a defensive touchdown tonight. No points
otherwise
from their offense.
Yeah.
UMS with a defensive touchdown. And then 2 that were set up off turnovers. And Tanner Allen takes a timeout before the play clock expires. That would have been...
Yeah, someone wasn't in the right position in the formation there.
Another coach, a friend of mine for a long time. He was out of town for a while over at Panama City, but Alvin Dempsey, he was the head man at Shaw as that whole school was kind of dwindling. And he's checking in as well, saying he's enjoying the broadcast.
More of our fine sponsors on high school football on Friday nights on our UA Early College Game of the Week. Advanced Collision. Also Greer's 5 generations working at Greer's now, 100th year, and also the
right out of Pritchard,
Secretary of State here in Alabama.
We may want to take a look back at that series of downs and see if there was something going on in the Secretary of State. We have to launch an investigation on that.
This could reach his desk.
The CPA just to count on the 1 to 4. I mean, we could use one up here helping us to keep track of downs.
Right, exactly.
UMS may want to employ Kenneth Starr. Oh, he's got a few problems of his own. He's busy
leave him alone.
First down for the Bulldogs. Ty Riccone now in the backfield. He'll get the touch, and he slips through and gets up and down to the 16-yard line. Didn't look like there was much there.
He showed you how to get through a crease.
Riccone picks up 4 on first down.
He's another really good football player.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing. He punts, he can return kicks, starts defensively, can come in, touch the ball offensively.
Yeah, he plays safety on defense. He also, they'll get him out of the backfield and out to the flat and try to get the ball in his hands. So that's a kid that has got good ball skills, good quickness, and good toughness. And not small, too, right around 190.
Play clock inside 5, and they give it to Matthews on the right side. And push ahead for a few more, and third down coming up. More folks watching the game and join our broadcast tonight. John Arundel, St. Paul's alum, watching the game here tonight.
I just had a Kevin Siegler check in. He's watching a little football.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that?
Assistant coach over at South.
Used to be the head coach at Blunt.
Yep.
Love having him on with us. Allen on the keeper, turns the corner to the near side. He's got blocking in the end zone, and he's in for the score.
Wow, he styled it at the end. I like it.
Riccone was blocking there in the end zone and got a good block from Harry Parker, who called on the hold earlier, but he got the block right there on the edge.
Just enough to give him some space there.
Yeah, football player right there. You got Riccone, who we've been talking about, really good high school football player, and Allen, the same thing, and they work together to get UMS now a lead that looks like may become 21.
And Walker Shaw does just that. It is 28-7. UMS-Wright come up Old Shell Road, and they're on top with 7.5 to go in the fourth. .7:24 left in the regular season here on UTV 44. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Vic Lockett, Tara Reeves on the sideline.
All of us having fun.
Oh, great. Again, we'll be with you next week for the playoffs, but they have to be tape delayed because it's like 1974 in the NBA Finals.
Well, just tune out the LSU-Alabama game and watch us, right?
Right. Yeah, the game you already know the final score of. And if you are not happy that we cannot be live, let Steve Savarese know, head of the Alabama High School Athletic Association.
Write your congressman?
Write your head. Whatever he is in the Athletic Association, he's the guy. Here's our playoff matchups. Jeff Davis and McGill, Tulane, Auburn, and Davidson. What a great 2-3 matchup that is. Trying to get everything all figured out with Baker MGM. They're playing tonight, and still a chance Murphy could get in. They need some real help with their win last night over Viger, but what a bounce back it was for Murphy to get the win last night. And then across the bay, you've got still trying to get that figured out as well. So it's going to be Dothan taking either Blunt or Daphne, Carver Montgomery, either Blunt, Daphne, or Spanish Fort. More than likely, Spanish Fort probably going to end up there. Is what you were kind of thinking. Is Lyle throws, and a great catch over the middle of the field is Willman with his first reception of the night, and a nice throw.
It was.
He's kind of threaded the needle by Lyle to get that in there.
He completed that one.
He's fun to watch, man.
The delivery was there.
5A, Viger at home. Pritchard Stadium be rocking. St. Paul's will be here to take on Charles Henderson. Jackson and Eufaula. Eufaula is a great high school football stadium. It is enormous.
Yeah.
It is Citronelle.
Do they
back
fill
in the
it up?
playoffs. They get good crowds there. It is the press box is a long way from, we'll just say, the facilities in Eufaula. Rolling out. Lyle stays with him, gets Paget for a pickup of a couple, but nothing open downfield.
Well, Jim, where's your chopper landing next week? You know yet?
We've not made that big announcement, but there's a chance that I might not need a chopper as much as just like, a short walk from the house.
Walk across your lawn.
Golf cart.
And that's not a short walk either.
Speaking of Paget, by the way, ran into Bradley Paget, remember the quarterback? And Jack Gilmore, the middle linebacker for St. Paul's. Alums who are back here to root on their Saints.
Yep, saw them. Erling Reese, former UMS-Wright player on the staff here. That one nearly intercepted on the screen. Mason Watts read it.
Well, Mason was doing the safe thing, just knock it down. He wasn't thinking about the interception and getting Jim Cox to call his name.
He's had a good game here tonight.
And the coaches
for the Bulldogs.
are pleased either way.
So this is a This defense for UMS-Wright, as we said, Jake Koziel, now defensive coordinator.
Well,
and
hats off to him.
And they have been stingy all year long. They've only allowed 7 rushing and 5 passing touchdowns all season, and they haven't given one up here tonight. 3rd and 4 for the Saints. Lyle looking, fires it over the middle, and it was overthrown as Pugh was back there.
That one kind of got away from him, I think.
And there's a flag where he let that one go, and we'll see if it was. I think it's going to be a holding call against the Saints.
Well, that defense, that unit right there has come ready to go tonight. Jay Koziel and his UMS-Wright defense.
Yeah, they have played a well of a game. Just really disciplined, doing what they're asked to do. And you could tell they have seen a whole year of film. And they picked up on every tendency that St. Paul's has been doing, and they're not doing anything the opposite of, looks like.
Terry Curtis backs him up to come up with 3rd and forever for the Saints here. Wow, middle of the field, gets it to Willman, and he's immediately brought down there by Trez Dixon. And it will bring up 4th and about 13 here.
And it goes without saying, in that situation, you want to let them catch the stuff underneath, then recover up front and make the tackle.
And that's where the Saints team has been so deadly this year on offense, that underneath stuff with getting into the hands of Eaton or Jalen Armour-Davis or Smith, someone like that. They've got some real playmakers who will get just a little bit of space and make you miss one time, and then they're off to the races.
It's been nullified tonight.
4th and 14. Swift Lyle. Bulldogs rush 3. Now he wants to air this one out. Riccone is back there, and this one is picked off by Pugh. At the 12, Jack Pugh with the interception, looking for some blocking up the near side. Pugh all the way up the sideline. There's a flag. And Pugh to the 26-yard line. And that was not on Swift Lyle. You just 4th down and 14, down 3 touchdowns. You just got to heave something up toward the end zone to try to make something happen here. But Jalen Armour-Davis not anywhere close, and Jack Pugh with his 2nd interception of the season.
Yeah, the only thing you'd say, you'd wish he kind of threw it somewhere near some. Toward the middle of the field.
Yeah, the flag's going to be at the 45, so it'll be a block in the back of some. You would guess they may wave it off.
Well, and it definitely was far away from the play. I don't think it had anything to do with the return, wherever the penalty took place and where the ref threw it.
Now, they will back up the Bulldogs to the.
During the interception return, had an illegal block in the back on the white team. That's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
So the Bulldogs will take it back over with 5:39 to go in this one, and they lead by 3 touchdowns.
Here's where it's good to have 21.
Yeah.
Especially, it's good to have them at period. Yeah, at the kickoff.
But certainly here in the waning minutes of the game, and see if you can put together a 4-minute drive and let's get out of here and get ready for the playoffs, huh?
Old school, huddle up, no hurry, and let that play clock wind down inside 5 and turn and ask a few guys up front to block a little bit for 21.
Watch him jump through some creases.
Maybe Tanner does this.
Pulls it down, trying to get to the near side, and he slips with good pursuit. He couldn't get away from Bracey on that one.
And that blade of grass and the width you were talking about in the top of the broadcast.
And the moisture, Vic, Hey, our trivia question. Former St. Paul Saint recently nominated 2016 MLB Roberto Clemente Award. This was just a couple of weeks ago. Guesses? You were going to kick yourself as soon as you see it. Vic Lockett doesn't even want to take a
Jake
guess.
Peavy.
Thank you, Vic Lockett.
Oh, man. Where is my head?
Well, he's the only famous baseball player that I'm hearing the name of that's from Mobile, and shockingly, I get the baseball call.
You got it.
You got it.
Playing for the Giants, and it's quite an honor to be nominated for that award. And it's based on involvement in your community and he's got a foundation, of course, that's very involved here in Mobile. And also,
you hear that all the time. He's always in the community.
Yep.
But, Jim, tell me what I win.
Yeah, you get to come back next week, Vic, and be on Tape Delayed with us.
All right.
So, yeah, Jake Peavy, but his foundation does great work here in Chicago and San Francisco, where he's a pitcher with the Giants right now. So congratulations to Jake and really making some things, special music things happen here in Mobile, his hometown as well.
I was thinking maybe Donaldson played a year at St. Paul's, the guy with the Blue Jays. But that's had a great career.
But you got to give it up to Jake, too, for really being a great community guy.
Oh, yeah.
Giving back to this community.
Yep.
He is very, very strong, and that's why I know his name.
Yep.
I don't know.
You're right. That's great. That's a great point.
I don't know if he pitches, catches, or what.
All right, well, to tell you about our folks that feed the crew, the Zax Pack. That's now available from Zaxby's, 12 or 18 pieces. How many, Vic Lockett?
I'll go to 18.
2, maybe sometimes.
That's
available.
right.
All your favorite flavors, of course, includes fingers, chips, toast, side, and a tea. And thank you for feeding our crew every week here. As the give now comes into Riccone, and he slips there on 3rd down. And, yeah, we're coming down to 4 minutes to go here. St. Paul's going to take a timeout. We got more young fans watching the game. We got Tucker Yance and his son Ty watching the game here tonight on UTV 44.
Also, a shout out, yes, Jim, David Stapleton Sr. The defensive backs coach for St. Paul's is Dave Stapleton.
Known him a long time.
Junior, yeah.
Great things over at Fairhope.
We're checking to see if his family was in the stands. He said no dad's at home, but he'd love to hear from you guys. So to you, Mr. Stapleton, thank you for watching.
And more of our partners on our UA Early College Game of the Week, Premier Motorsports. We provide our Player of the Week every week here on UTV 44, Faulkner State. And the aforementioned Zaxby's. And the Bulldogs will punt. Ty Riccone just tries to get it off and does. And good kick and a fair catch called for, as Hansen calls it there. Tara Ford, we got some people on Twitter checking in. Leland Moore's a UMS grad. Lucy Moore, she's a St. Paul's grad. And it says they're both rooting for UMS to win. And way to go, UMS band. Lucy Moore watching the game, so we appreciate Lucy watching and checking in on Twitter for us here tonight. Well, sometimes you got families where, like one brother, you got, like the Longs I mentioned earlier. You got one brother, Bennett goes to UMS. You got a son, Forrest, or Bennett goes to St. Paul's. Forrest goes to UMS. So I screwed that up. then I find out, well, Forrest went to UMS, but now his beautiful young daughters both go to St. Paul's.
Yeah.
So I was in a hole.
You're so confused. You should be wearing a striped shirt.
Lyle with pressure coming, and he'll be dropped as Mason Watts comes in with a sack.
And by the way, it was an extraordinary set of downs that we're talking about. These officials, we watch them week in, week out, do a really good job.
Oh.
It just was kind of a crazy thing that happened in the 3rd period. That somebody somewhere got lost track of the downs.
Well, I'm usually tough on the refs, but that announcement was just approved by Dan Brenner. Not Vic Lockett that time.
Lockett's giving me the raised eyebrows. This one's complete to Jared Eaton over here. I was like, it's 4th and 1. And Lockett's looking at me like,
Not officially.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll go back. That was did not affect the outcome of the game in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, it's unfortunate. The officials do such a great job.
3:27 on the clock.
To the near side, Paget. And Paget bumped out of bounds.
Those Pagets will mix it up, man, I'll tell you.
Tell you what, the UMS isn't taking their foot off the pedal defensively at all. It's like starters still in the football game.
Oh, yeah.
Jalen Armour-Davis, starter still there for the Saints as well.
You put second stringers in against this group of wideouts and that quarterback and
maybe 6 quick.
Yeah. I really believe that.
Well, Dan, you usually hadn't said a thing that you didn't believe.
Want to recognize our great Andrew Dolison standing up there tonight on the scaffolding, protecting that camera during kicks at all times as well.
He built the scaffolding before the for the broadcast.
That one is dropped over there as they try to get it to Oliver Willman. Again, these great pictures that come to you. Raymond Wilson up
Raymond
there with the Queen wave. It was very, very
congratulations,
very nice.
Raymond.
He did not build that scaffolding, however. He was not. We don't let Raymond next to the power tools to assemble such things. And the Saints, I think they were trying to get maybe a timeout there. Instead, we'll just have the flag prior to the snap. D'Ambro Chapman down on the sidelines.
Yeah, he's strong. He doesn't even need scaffolding. He's so tall.
Yeah.
D'Ambro's got a lot of things going for him. Tallness, I'm not sure one of them. He's been a great addition to the TV station and the crew here on Friday nights. Played high school football here as well. Zips this one over the middle. Padgett's got it, slips through a seam, and Padgett makes a move. Ball gets knocked loose, recovered by UMS-Wright.
Was that take only 4 turnovers?
Jack Pugh.
Point of no return at that point. 3 is really hard.
5 turnovers.
I missed one.
Pugh's had the last 2, right?
Yep. This one.
Whoa, what a throw.
Jaden Roberson knocks it loose. And
looks like his hat got right on the helmet there at the last second, huh?
Yeah.
Pugh's got an interception and a fumble recovery.
To the point I made, they almost changed the scoreboard there with a quick 6 with all the first teamers in on UMS-Wright. So great job the entire night by the UMS-Wright defense. Just having their way.
And once you sign your contract here, you play the whole game, right?
More. There's Thane Yakai up on top of the press box here tonight, battling the elements. We appreciate your hardiness
the elements.
to be up here tonight.
He's never wore long pants, ever.
Don't have to tonight.
And if he doesn't have to put them on for the next 4 weeks, next 4 Fridays
we're
after
okay.
this, I'm
Perfect,
just fine with that.
Tim, you don't want to get any skiing in? Only water skiing, right?
There's Rodney Middlebrooks up top as well.
You know, we're talking about UMS-Wright and now their path in the playoffs. And now you look at St. Paul's and what does this game do to them and their confidence going into the playoffs.
Matthews up the middle and Matthews up the right side. Wing giving chase. And Smith helps to force him out of bounds. Another first down for the Bulldogs.
He had about 28 yards at halftime. And we'll take a look at how that total's really jumped up here in the second half.
The crease maker. That's what he is.
Crease destroyer in the second half.
I think some people talking to some folks before this game thought it had a chance to be a high-scoring game. Might have, thought that might be the chance. And wow, it is just.
It has been for one team.
Right. I'm just the defensive job by this UMS-Wright team to shut down St. Paul's here tonight. And hats off. They had not. They snapped a 5-game losing streak last year. All those great hits you hear coming from the sidelines right there. Tara Dempsey. I told her I could hold that microphone for about 1 play and then I would be out. She carries it all game long, every week for us.
Informs the referees about timeouts and things like that. She's a lot on her plate.
Great girl. Great.
Takes a whole
job all year.
Crew to put these games together. Look at that pulling cable. Chris Lott down there helping out D'Ambro on the sidelines.
Work goes on behind the scenes. Yeah, he's strong.
And if anybody gets a little over-aggressive with D'Ambro, he's there for him as well. He's kind of our muscle on the crew. Brennan and I took him one time on a road game. It's great to have him along.
A lot of muscle in this UMS offensive line here in the second half.
Bulldogs now start to change things up as Will Chapman,
really go
the
with
junior.
these 8th graders again, huh?
Yeah, Chapman comes in at quarterback.
Simon Smith, he's a true freshman at 5'3", 135.
Wow.
I've had luggage way more than that.
Yeah, well, the way you pack it.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, I got big clothes.
I was gonna say it takes he's not rocking the medium shirt when he's packing anything
wearing
like
the extra smalls.
don't be haters on us.
I am jealous.
Scrawny guys.
I am jealous.
You know. So down to a minute and a half, UMS with lots of clean white jerseys in there. And St. Paul's doing some substituting as well as we wrap up another edition of this great rivalry.
The St. Paul's coaching staff is going to be bleary-eyed staring at film of this game, trying to see what went wrong, who was outplayed, and schematically were there problems.
I think we talked to Coach Mascott on the field, and he was just, his biggest concern, I think, coming into this game was Michael Matthews, was just how much damage was he going to do, and he certainly has in the second half. But boy, Tanner Allen, the decisions he made, the way he played, and then the turnovers. I mean, you turn the ball
where
over
they're going to stop.
Yeah, you turn the ball over 5 times.
But even without the turnovers, I think they were just played a little bit better. UMS did.
No
they wanted it better, much more.
The turnovers came from the effort.
Correct.
They all weren't
creating them.
Yeah.
Simon Smith with an exciting carry with a flag down and 23 seconds left, and holding call against the Bulldogs, but still a good run. What a night here. This great rivalry, even up the all-time series as well at 19-19. And great friendship between these two head coaches. I mean, a super solid, close, off the field friendship between Steve Mask and Terry Curtis.
I think it's just gotten that much bigger in the years that Steve's been here in town.
I would totally agree. I know when he thought about moving down here, Terry was one of the first persons that he called as Coach Mask. Charles Henderson is going to see I would guess, a rather angry Saints team.
Yeah, an angry Saints team might be a lot to handle next week, but today they were not quite angry. They could not match UMS-Wright's anger and tenacity.
And that first turnover on the first series got the Bulldogs on top 7-0. They never fell behind, and Terry.
And UMS kids rushing the field as visitors, and that's a great shot right there.
We talk about how much this game means for fans and for families and everything else. Coach Mask and Coach Curtis with a nice embrace out there, and Coach Curtis talked to a couple of the members of the coaching staff, and he'll come over and find our Tara.
And good sportsmanship by the kids there, just shaking hands and saying, good game, we'll get you next year.
All right, let's go down the field. Tara's got the head coach of the Bulldogs, Terry Curtis.
Coach, you said each week Tanner Allen has improved at quarterback. What did you see from him tonight that impressed you?
Well, he's the guy who comes to play. He's a great competitor. We knew that, and he's got to play like that all year. And he played like that. Michael got better as the game went on, and they were stacking the box on us, and we were still able to run the ball a little bit. And I'm just real proud of him. I thought we gave great effort. Now we got to carry that over to next week. As we, now get in the playoffs, we got to play that same way every week, not just against these guys.
And last year, you won the Battle of Old Shell Road at home, breaking St. Paul's 5-game win streak. What does it mean to win this game on the road and, as you said, going into the playoffs?
Well, it's big for our players. They know all these guys. They, it's big for our community. It's big for our administration. It's just a great rivalry, and anytime you can compete with them and especially beat them, it's a good night.
Thank you so much, Coach, and good luck.
Thank you.
What a win for the Bulldogs here tonight, as it's 2 in a row now over St. Paul's. And I don't think a lot of people probably thought UMS was going to come in and win this game. But I know Coach Curtis likes his team, likes the way they've been playing, knew they were going to have to play well, and boy, they just came out and they had it going on all sides of the ball here tonight.
Yeah, I think I've kind of voiced what I saw all night long. Vic, what did you notice the most?
Well, the thing that stands out to me, it looks like St. Paul's just came in and thought, hey, we'll overpower these guys. We'll just play them tough, and the athleticism is going to probably take over at some point. It just didn't seem to happen because UMS was just very prepared defensively. And they just weren't able to get anything going offensively. And, of course, you know, the turnovers, the coach is going to talk about that. So aside from that and the turnovers, you know, I think that just controlled the game, and you see what happened.
And the turnovers were not by accident, because UMS-Wright also, I think one thing we've got to say is they were the more physical team. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
They were the team that played more physically from the very beginning. And, you know, football, sports, a lot of it has got to do with willpower.
Yeah.
And Will Power played for UMS tonight.
Yeah, hey, I want to ask you this quickly, Vic. Such a rivalry game. I think both sides, you have to be a little cautious next week. If you're the Saints, you got to put it behind you. And if you're the Bulldogs, you can't be so high and have a little hangover next week going in the first round of the playoffs.
Well, you know, it's all about the rings. I mean, yeah, you want to beat your rival and you want to play hard and tough against the guys you know across town. But nobody will remember this if you win the ring. Yep. I mean, so if St. Paul's win the ring, this will just be something that's in the back of their minds that they did not win this rivalry.
No question. Let's give you our player of the game nominees here tonight. Dalton Goff on the defensive side of the football for the UMS-Wright Bulldogs had caused a fumble, and then he had also an interception, that one-handed, just the play of the week. I mean, you're not going to see a better highlight anywhere.
One of the plays of the year for us.
Yeah, no question. He's going to have a big night, and had a chance to have a couple other turnovers as well. Tanner Allen, what a great game the quarterback played. Really had his team going the right way offensively all night. And then Michael Matthews really became a factor. Third quarter started to wear things down a little bit and kind of got better as the game went on. So go to local15tv.com and you'll be able to click on to vote for your favorite high school football player of the week from our game here tonight. That's it for our regular season. Playoff edition comes up next week. We'll be tape delayed a week from Saturday night as you get a look at all of the great people who bring us our games every week here. Thanks to our entire crew, Ethan and Mark and Ed down there. Leanna, Jonathan, all the great camera operators, Thomas McDonald, who's here helping us all the time, and just our great crew. Can't thank them enough. All the folks back at the station who make it work. Bobby Toach, general manager, who's despite the fact a Cardinal fan, we still appreciate that he helps us here on
very supportive of what we do on Friday night.
He is very, and of course Jared Kihas down in the truck. We can't do it without Jared and all the support back at the station. The coaches, I mean, they give us such great help to get ready for these games. It's a treat to be here on Friday nights, and another regular season comes to a close, but we will have postseason high school football for you here on UTV 44. Check out the website, and you'll be able to find out what game we're doing to open up the playoffs next week. So for Dan Brennan, Vic Lockett, Terry Reeves on the sidelines, Jared Kihas on the truck, I'm Jim Cox saying good night from Old Shell Road, where the visitors come down the street and come up with a victory. 28-7, the Bulldogs head to the postseason with a win over their rivals.